the meantime, while we're waiting for them, let's have you guys introduce yourselves a little bit. Velink, can you tell everybody where they can find you, what you do, and what do you do as a YouTuber, a streamer?
I'm not a YouTuber anymore.
You're not a YouTube.
Well,
He's just a streamer now. He's one of the
uh,
biggest whales in Ru. Yeah.
holy shit. No. You can find me in YouTube's Welling TV. I did some ROO content before. And yeah,
And now he's back for
that's about it.
RO3. There you go. Linky, let me move my camera over just because I'm blocking his beautiful avatar there. There you go.
Hello. Good morning, good evening to everyone that's listening. I'm Linky. I used to be a streamer. Took a break. Right now, I'm a QA for a very big gaming company. So,
Don't dox
but
yourself now. Don't dox
yeah,
yourself
yeah, yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I won't. But I'll be back as soon as Path
RO3?
of Exile releases.
Oh,
Also
POE?
RO3, of course.
RO3? Okay, there
Yeah,
you
yeah.
go. There you go. You can't be saying that shit in an RO3 podcast.
Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah, yeah. Plug everything. Where can they find you? Twitch, YouTube.
Yeah, I'll be streaming on Twitch.
All right.
I'll just drop the link later on.
Yeah, sounds good. Feel free to drop the link on the chat too, by the way. And then Mr. Haru.
Hello.
Yeah.
I'm Haru. I usually stream like variety games. I actually stream Brew for a time and
Ru?
other MMOs like FF. And I also do like honestly it's every games honestly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can find me at twitch.tv/Haru Takegawa. I also do some clips here and there in
All right.
TikTok.
Okay. TikTok. You do dances, bro?
No.
Oh,
Just
okay. All right. I'm just asking. All right. He's back now as well, Mr. Dark Society. Give us a little bit of intro. What do you do? Where can they find you?
What's up, guys? Yeah, you can find me at on Twitch. I was streaming a while ago. Then me and Faye had our daughter, and I took a hiatus. But I did a lot of RO. I did some Apex. Recently, I've been doing the Quinfall, which is a very grindy MMO. And I've played on a lot of different servers. Um, I'm an RO veteran, so from the beginning.
All right.
Hundreds of servers.
Perfect. We're not gonna say what those are though, right? Because we don't want to get. And also I know Irk did come in like on the latter part of like the podcast last time. You guys already know me. You guys already know Chin as well, right? So I'd like to have Irk actually have a good an actual intro for the beginning of this podcast. So Irk, where can they find you? What do you do?
Pretty much Hercules on everything like Twitch, YouTube. I have a TikTok that I don't really upload much to. I don't do the dances. And then I am Hercules on Instagram. That's what I'm most active on. I post like car photos and cool stuff. But I started with old school RuneScape like in 7th grade. Then I went to Ragnarok Online, and then I went to WoW Classic for vanilla. Played a bunch of other MMOs, but my all-time favorite's always been Row because of the social aspect mainly, like just hanging out in the city. The PvP is really fun. Getting used to the new one's been weird, but it's been especially weird because I came in like a little bit behind on the Pioneer test, so a lot of people already kind of knew what was going on in mechanics and everything, and I haven't really looked into it as much as I should have. I just kind of went into it and played it, but it's really fun. I'm enjoying it a lot.
Yeah. All right.
I was fighting for my life on heals.
Yeah.
Those dungeons we were spamming.
Yeah. All right. So let's get this whole thing rolling. Let me just make sure. Let me reactivate Miss Faye's camera here. See if the thing is working now. If not, it's okay. It's absolutely no problem. Okay. Looks like
I'll
it's
have to get
still
set up
loading.
next time.
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. All right. So let's take a look here. So to give some context to this one, and I'll pull it up on my phone as well, just so I can have like double references basically uh to the AMA question that somebody had about like the overall stats. They did say that they basically said that, hey, I saw this whole thing about PVE stats. Are there gonna be is there gonna be like PvP stats as well? So that was like one of the most probably one of the most feared things because I mean we saw how PvP stats were in Ragnarok Origin. We kind of
Trauma.
see it's based it's practically trauma at this point, right? So that was like one of the things that they answered there. And how they answered it was basically all of our attributes are earnable through player effort. There won't be any attributes that are exclusive to paid players. So at the very least, in terms of stats, there is no paywall, right? Again, paywall doesn't necessarily mean no gating, no time gate or whatever, right? So that's we're gonna find that out the deeper we get into the testing. And again, if an attribute is only available through paid access, it will create a segregated player ecosystem. So at least they know how to acknowledge that. Everyone wants to know the exact payment structure for RO3. However, I'd like to share my production philosophy. Now, the devil is always in the details, right? And I always look at Gravity with a discerning eye because of their history, right? I would be a fool, and my and you guys' viewership would lose trust in you if you weren't as discerning as as you should be, based on Gravity's history. So he said, however, I'd like to share my production philosophy. Now that's his, as the producer, his production philosophy doesn't reflect the company's philosophy. So take everything that he says with a grain of salt. Paying is always about the outcome. People only pay for their own emotional value. I believe everyone is the same. I pay when I'm happy, aka you like the game, you're having fun, perhaps to help the team grow, gain power to help your team, right? Achieve a common goal to help your team reach that same goal by being stronger, quote unquote. Perhaps to look cool, costumes, or perhaps for some exclusive performance opportunities, aka maybe like loot drop scrolls or XP scrolls or whatever. And he said, if we pursue paid access from the start, wouldn't that be putting the cart before the horse? Now, before you celebrate a little too much and saying like, wait, they're not chasing after profits, just so you know, this could also translate into saying something like, well, we just don't want to be buy to play or subscription first, right? That could also mean that. So again, take everything here with a grain of salt and really try to dig into the details here a little bit, because from what I know from game companies, and the most recently, by the way, that we kind of like experienced is probably Chrono Odyssey. Chrono Odyssey said they will not have pay to win, and then the day after, or a few hours after, actually, an article released saying that they will have pay to win. So companies, until you see the final product, you really don't know what they're going to be pulling out. So, and they're saying this is why we prioritize releasing content that we believe will be enjoyable and enjoyable for everyone to experience. Actually, we're more interested in discussing the game with everyone, not discussing payment. So he's basically saying that he wants to discuss the game mechanics with people in the AMA versus discussing the monetization. Number one, probably because he doesn't have the final say anyway, or he doesn't quite know yet. Or number two, it's just a subject that they want to kind of like avoid for PR purposes. So what do you guys think about this response from the dev? I'll leave it up here as well so you can reference it. We can start like top left to all the way down. Urk.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good. Like you said, up to interpretation, but I think that one statement is really good. Like, if we pursue paid access from the start, wouldn't that be putting the cart before the horse? I think what they're gonna do is like roll out the game and let it ride for X period of time without the pay to win mechanics and then slow roll them in.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it gives you hope. Ultimately, it's gonna boil down to whatever ends up being put out as a final product, because like you just gave another game company as an example. They can tell us like, oh, there's going to be no pay to win, there's going to be this, going to be that, and
Mm-hmm.
then we're going to find out ultimately what they do. And if it doesn't work out from the start, then they might have to shift away from what they said initially because they need the profits.
Mm-hmm.
But right now it looks hopeful.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Haru, what do you think?
For me, I'm honestly with the same thought of being hopeful and everything. But as you said earlier, like this only means that it won't be like a subscription base, which is how RO1 was initially
Mm-hmm.
was. So maybe this is only answering that one. As for the how not to be pay to win, I would say nah, it's not like that. I mean like uh there's barely any games right now that's not pay to win. Like it's gonna have a
Mm-hmm.
sort of form of pay to win. It's just a matter of how much the gap is or anything like that. So but it is hopeful at the very least.
Yeah. um I think based on that, I believe that they will have some form of pay to win one way or another, right? I think it's safe to assume that at this point, based on their verbiage and based on their history, right? Because if they really were absolutely sure that they were not going to put any type of pay to win into this game, they would have just outright said it, because it would be really good for PR. And if they were going to do it anyway, then it makes no sense for them not to declare it, right? So it's at this
Yes.
point, yeah, if it read between the lines, we kind of know already what their focus is going to be. What about you, Chen? What do you think about this statement?
Um, this is, we're coming from ROO, right? So,
Yeah.
like we have that whole experience, that whole perspective. So, I'm looking at the statement right now. It says all of our attributes are earnable through player effort. There won't be any attributes that are exclusive to
Mm-hmm.
paid players. But,
I'll
the thing
increase the
is, like,
volume.
we were talking about this off stream last time where the statue skills were like just killed the whole PvP aspect, right? Because
Yeah.
you're one person will be one shotting 40 people
Yeah.
with a statue skill. But like another thing that was that really segregated the players. Like if I was gonna like take their terms, by creating that segregated player ecosystem was the white feathers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because like that was accessible to free to play. That's why you made that video.
Yeah.
Free to play, no problem, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the video that you
Yeah.
made until
Until it
the
wasn't.
spenders. Yeah, until the spenders could get access to it unlimited times.
Yeah.
Right? So they get access to it unlimited times. Free to play players do have access to it, but only as guild event rewards, right? From Guild League and maybe some events, right? So that was one thing that really, really created that whole segregated player ecosystem. So I don't know, like it's like a gray area for me. All of our attributes are earnable through player effort. Yeah, true. It's just that the spenders who have unlimited access to them. So
Yeah.
it's like that's what really created the whole one person versus 150
Yeah.
kind of setup there. That we,
Yeah.
we had that in
Yeah.
ROO. We'd send, we did that. Like my guild did that. We had the whale. It's not like just the other
Yeah.
guilds who had whales. We had whales too. So we would do that if we were mad at a specific guild. We'd send our one guy, Eskyle. Eskyle. We'd send him over to another guild just to take their take their adjet, give it to this trash guild,
Yeah.
just to prove a point.
Just to prove a point, just to mess with them.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, don't mess with us. We'll give it to this trash guild. Take your guild away. Take your adjunct away. So like there's that. I don't know. Like it's nice to hear. But like you said, until the final product is there,
Yeah.
it's still very. I'm still very skeptic, of course.
Yeah. And it's exactly these type of subjects too, where it's like uh I'm very vocal when it comes to my opinion in these games. I've been
Yeah,
kicked out of like every content creator program besides like two or three,
yeah,
basically. And it wasn't like I was crashing out. It wasn't like I was cursing up a storm. I was basically just writing paragraphs of, or like bullet points of like pros and cons. And some of them got a little
right.
too real. And, you know, they don't really want to hear that, right? Because they don't want a content creator out there like actually like quote unquote exposing them. And so that's one of the that's one of
I think
the problems that I had.
I think the one whale that I could effectively beat was named Fato.
Ah, yeah, that guy. Yeah, he wasn't that strong. Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
like the proof of
I
like
think he
there
was
was
like
some middle ground.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was
sure.
like
Pato is
he was like
Velig, by
top
the way.
50.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
Um, and Mr. Dark Society, what do you think about this statement so far?
So I like how they're prioritizing the release and the content before they decide on any like pay stuff. Being part of a lot of like private servers and stuff like that, I feel like they could go around the pay stuff and still make a profit by doing like the CP points or the voting points and stuff like that that you could purchase to get like the gear and stuff. Because I know that in a lot of private servers they use the CP points and you can actually purchase it like the cash points to get like cosmetics and booster packs and potions and stuff like that. So I feel like they would still make a decent amount of money based on like how much of that they do. But it's still earnable by the free to play player base. So like attending events and voting for the server and stuff like that would earn you points towards being able to convert to the CP points. So, if they go that route, I feel like it would be a really, really good balance. Um, but yeah, with the statement here, I like how he's prioritizing the content over the pay for now.
Yeah. Um, I'll ask you this though. It's do you think that it doesn't need to have a multi-step process to get to that point for like for free to play or like less or like hobby money players, right? Or do you think that it's just wouldn't it just be better just to have everything accessible through Zenny, for example?
So personally, I think everything should be accessible through Zenny and, grinding and stuff like that. But I know nowadays there's like a need for that payment area. So it's like I wouldn't mind seeing it done the way with the CP points and stuff. So like whales and stuff could still purchase their stuff, but people could still earn that currency to that are free to play to get up to that level. It may take a little longer, but we all love the grindiness of the game anyway.
Yeah. Do you think that's possible currently though with the current state of the game where there's auto? Or would that
So
yeah. How would
that
that
I
affect the
mean
economy?
that could definitely affect it a bit with the auto. Just like I was on your last podcast, I was very vocal about the auto and like maybe they should make an item or something that you can buy that gives you like 5 hours of auto access or something like that. Um, you know, just for that whole auto aspect. I think that would balance it out a little bit, but as it is right now, everything's pretty auto. So it's like, mm, I don't mind the auto. I don't want to feel like the game's being played for me, so I'll probably be manual most of the time. But there are some aspects of auto that I like auto running to a certain location. If I need to step away for 5 minutes, something like that. But the auto farming, I mean, back in the day with the homunculus and having the AI to auto farm for you, like you could sit in a dungeon and have your AI go out and kill things and gather for you and stuff like that. So um, if they balance it correctly, I think it could be done right. But if it's all auto all the time, that might affect it.
Do you think that do you think that there's a way to actually balance selling what is essentially a bot program built into the game, or how would you go about that?
Right. So I would do like a scroll or something because um something that's purchasable gives you like, you have 12 hours of um auto farming. Keep the auto running aspect as a free thing, all the time, but like for like farming and stuff like that, make it limited to an item that's either purchasable through points that you can earn or that you can purchase. I think that would balance it out a little better than having it all the time.
Yeah, but So the whole thing that the whole reason that they have for even having auto in the game currently is because, as they said, they want to avoid a situation where there's a huge gap between players. So if you were to put that into the game, wouldn't that just widen the gap between a free to play player and somebody who pays for the auto?
Yeah, I think that would definitely be a thing. Like again, I'm all for, manual all the way, but if it's like a need and they like want to have it in there, I think making it a limited, maybe even making it limited to purchase per week or something like that. Like you can only purchase auto for like a certain amount of time once a week. That might be able to limit it a little bit more and cause the gap to shorten a bit.
All right, and let's see. What about Miss Faye? What do you think about that? What do you think about that? Like post by the Actually, no.
Sorry.
Oh, actually, it's Linky. I
Oh,
thought you were next. Linky, Linky.
it's okay.
For me, I would answer this as a player, also as a QA. So as a player, I think that when I saw the screenshot that you provided, it it's giving me hope that uh they're prioritizing games over like content, rather over paying. Like there's no content that's limited to free to play players. But as a QA perspective, like no shot, like they're not gonna uh, completely run a full free to play game. Like I have a strong feeling that there will be like battle passes when the game launches, and pretty sure there will also be like a VIP system, like because they need that cash flow. So yeah, that's my thought for those answers.
Yeah. Um. Do you think that like having the VI, especially having like VIP, and you know how it is, like you spend X amount of points to get VIP one, VIP two, right?
Yeah.
Um. Do you think that that would just kill the game entirely though? Especially since people are already very. It's like, would it put? Does it open up your potential cash flow? Yes. Does it? Does it alienate basically everybody who has been expecting that level of pay to win, in the game? Also, yes. So do you think the trade off? Do you think the trade off is worth it for them as a company?
Depends on how they're aiming. Like if they're targeting for a longer uh time frame of game existence, I think they'll slowly push it out. Not they're not going to push out like big uh VIP stuff, like little by little, something like that.
I'll be honest with
Because
you. If I
there
see anything like that at all, I'm quitting the game immediately. That's like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
not even like a gateway. That's like a whole the gate's wide open at that point. You know what I mean? Like nobody really implements a VIP system like out of good
I'm not
faith. You know what I
maybe
mean?
the VIP system will function like something in the battle pass, like tier 1, tier 2, something like that, similar to another RO game that I've played. They had a battle pass. They had tiers in that battle pass, like VIP 1, VIP 2. Then the VIP 2 had more quality of life compared to VIP 1. Then the standard ones, like they don't have access to that. So
Mm.
like it's like, for example, like VIP 2, I have more time for fishing. I have more time for mining. For VIP 1, it's like I only get 1 hour for both, something like that.
All right. What do you think about that, Bell?
So, from what I see,
Mhm.
The answer are not really answering. It's really vague because they said that if we pursue paid access from the start, wouldn't that be putting the cart before the horse? So if you already put the horse, you will put the cart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. The way that they said it makes me think that yeah, maybe the first week, first month is not really paid, but after that it's back to the RO. And for
Mhm.
they have or they had one game that really good. Rommel. I played Rommel and RO. For Rommel, I played full free to play, and for
Mhm.
RO, I I whale out there. Okay,
What
We
color
know.
was
and
your Hiroshima? What color?
and from Rommel, what?
What color was your Hiroshima bomb? What color?
No. I don't have the steady skills, unfortunately.
Oh, really? You didn't
Yeah,
have this.
yeah. I bought the pets.
Yeah.
So for Rommel, the balancing is pretty good, and they have a lot of money also. They did the the payment like for each, I think each month or each 2 weeks they have costumes, and the costumes you can put it in the book, give you 1%, 1%, 1%. So the difference is not so big,
Right.
and I can I'm free to play and I can still compete in like 1 year before I it's already 50% and 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, and the way that they make money and it's really successful, they
Mm.
put out like unique only one uh mount, the Rainbow Pegasus unicorn thing,
Mhm.
and I think they get like 80k 80k USD from that.
Mhm.
It's Indonesian that bought it,
Yeah.
and it's like a pride thing for whales to have that, and they put it so everyone can get like adventuring exp for the rewards if you have a photo of that mount. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really good to have that, but it's not game breaking. It doesn't give any stats. It's only, but you have the one and only.
Yeah.
It's it's things like that that RO can make money from. I think, yeah. For the pay to win, you can balance it out there like that.
Yeah. So yeah, he had the one Bugatti in Rommel basically. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. Miss Faye, what do you think about that statement?
Kind of sad before, yesterday. I mean, the last time we did this, not yesterday, but last time we did this. I also, I was thinking more in depth about it. Uh, I just lost thought. Sorry.
No, take your time.
Um,
Take your time.
uh, I really think like they should really focus on costumes. To be honest, for
So
like
cosmetics basically.
cosmetic,
Yeah.
I'm like really okay with the cosmetic aspect of it, but when it comes to grinding, I really feel like you know it pulls people into the game too longer and have people talking, and it's just I don't know. I just feel like it should be a pay to win, but not too much. I don't know. Like I not like pay. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
iffy on
yeah.
that.
No, yeah, no, we get it. Limited pay to win.
More
Like
like a pay to look good
minimal gating.
instead of
Yeah,
pay to win.
yeah. And then
Like it's a game where you're supposed to play.
yeah,
In
yeah,
my head, it's like it's a game you're supposed
yeah.
to play to. You know, like
Gotcha.
I'm old school that way, man. Like
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
I get it, 100%. Also, all right, so we spent 30 minutes on that topic already. I want to move on to the next one here, which is I see that card upgrading is an unpopular system, so we're removing them. Expect new innovations for cards to enhance collection value. So I'll go first on this one, right? Like my thoughts on this one is I think again I made a video about this as well. I do believe that this is one of those times where as a dev you don't want to listen too much to the player base because the player base saying that they didn't like it, they didn't like it because of how it was executed in ROO. Nobody liked, like, if you're a free to play player, you didn't like it because people could pay money so that they could draw times 10 cards. And so a whale can actually just whale out on the cards and get all the shards that they need, and they can level up their cards just very, very easily. The system itself is not inherently bad because think of it this way: there's a lot of cards in the game, for example, that are just very useless. Like people that don't care. There's always gonna be those cards that people just don't, have no use. Nobody wants to buy them. Nobody wants to keep them. There's nothing else you can do about them. And having the card upgrading system where you could dismantle those cards. So if you get those cards and you can't use it, at the very least, like, okay, at least in some way, shape, or form, this is gonna help me progress, right? Um, and also it makes it so there's people who actually want to buy these cards as well, and there's a whole economy behind it now, whereas like instead of having that same useless card sit like by the thousands, the hundreds of thousands in the market eventually, I feel like it's just it's better to have a sink for those cards, so to speak, like kind of like a Zenny sink as well, because um number one, people will spend Zenny on it, so it's a Zenny sink. Number two, it's a form of progression. I don't think that the card upgrading stats are super egregious. Most of them are flat stats anyway. Number three, um, it's again, it's something that stimulates the economy because like somebody who's like a novice who's, let's say, like grinding porings or lunatics or something, gets a card and he's like, well, I don't really have a use for this. So I'm glad I got a card, but I can't profit off of this. Whereas like now, if they get a pouring card, it's like, oh, nice, a pouring card. I can actually get some Zenny off of this. Somebody will buy this, right? Rather than like having all those like thousands of pouring cards in the market and nobody buys them. So that's what I think about it, at least for now. What about you, Ark?
I think that's a good idea. I was thinking about that when you were mentioning like the dismantling system. I fall back on the mentality of like if it's not broke, don't fix it. I don't think, maybe I'm wrong. Did anyone mind the old card system where like aside from the issue that you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
where you stockpile useless cards, which my fix for that would be create a vendor value for the card based on rarity. So if you have 50 pouring cards, you can just trash vendor them because they're not going to go anywhere anyway. So that way you give the player the choice of whether they're going to have it sit on market to try and scratch like a little bit more, or they want to just, vendor it all. And then obviously cards that are really powerful or sought after are going to vendor for a lot more, but that's still not going to be anywhere near what players are willing to pay for the cards. So that way it just transfers that currency back into Zenny. And that's what I was thinking when the other conversation was being had about like the systems. In my mind, it would have worked simply if like, and this is a fix for the auto. I had a take on that as well, but if there was quests in the game or something that required you to go grind and hunt, right? To turn in like kill X of this monster or whatever kind of quest they come up with, that would reward you a token or a coin that you can only get through that quest. And you could use those to buy um like the pay to win currency, that way it would force players to engage even if there was an auto system. Like there's an auto system, that's cool, but you're not going to be able to buy any of that stuff that you really want unless you go out and physically grind and quest and kind of build up this X currency. But the craziest thing to me is that these conversations are being had because if like as someone who owns a business, if not one or two or three people, but like the entirety of the customer base, everyone has the same negative bad thing to say about the same thing, there's no chance that I would maintain that thing. Like no one is like, "Oh, I absolutely love auto," that understands how it works, like I would just be looking at that as a business owner and say, "Okay, that has to go." The same way that they're like, oh, the card system isn't working and has to go. I think there's far less complaints about the card system than there is about the auto system. And the other thing
Yeah.
that blows my mind looking at this is that as a business, same scenario, not one or two customers, but every customer, like the entire consumer base, looks at the company and says, I don't trust you. That's a problem for a company. So I think like the top of the pillar of the things that should be on their to-do list is to regain consumer trust in their company. That's would be extremely important to me because there doesn't seem to be any at all right now.
No. Yeah. Mr. Haru?
Okay. For me, I'm actually one of the people who are not really fond of the card upgrading system. I would prefer yung the system where you the card collection or like the album over the card upgrading.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's already a sync on its own. But of course it's gonna be like a small sync. It's not like gonna be like a huge sync or anything like that. But another solution for a sync is just I don't know, like having like a system where you could like sell it to a specific NPC, convert it into like a coin or whatnot that you could trade into another card that you need for your like album. So like
Not
even if you
bad.
do get like let's say you get a pouring card 3 times, you would like sell the other two. That would be like 2 coins, and like to buy like the same value card, you would not need like let's say like 10 of these, or like 10 kinds of this kind of rarity. Then
Mm-hmm.
you would like you would be able to buy like the same value for your like card collection.
Mm-hmm.
So that in itself, it's already a sync, and it's more of a long term of sync. So it's solved like the uh being over the problem of having too many cards or low value cards in the market.
Not a bad solution. All right. What about you, Chin?
Right?
Um, so all like the games that came out after RO, I also played the Ragnarok. I also played Landverse.
Jesus.
I think that yeah, I think the card system here in RO3 is, I think, more similar to how it was with the Ragnarok, maybe, because it's not like we have to like actually get copies of the cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we need to do that with ROO before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Yep.
think it's kind of
Oh
similar
god.
to, so yeah, but I don't know. Like I think there's just really something about how cards were back then in Classic. Like we never really got that anymore. You know, like if you have like that double bloody double bone
Yep.
composite bow or whatever,
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
you get what I mean? It
Yeah.
was just like
Like when you had that,
but
you were
then
elite.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So we never really got that magic again here with these new Ragnarok mobile games. So yeah, I think when it comes to card system, I'd want something like that again, and like how it was back in
Yeah.
classic Ragnarok.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
agree with you on there. I like the value. I feel like the cards, like
same.
especially right now with the card system, what we're seeing, in the game, right? Like in RO3, like right now, right? Like we're seeing the card system. They feel so. It's like I see it. I was like, oh, I got an Angeling card, Angeling line art card. What the? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I got like
Yeah,
I got a Wind Ghost card. I got a card. It's like, oh, this one's
Mhm.
supposed to have like Jupiter Thunder chance to cast. And I look at it, it was like damage mitigation
Oh,
against ghost card. What is this? Like, you know what I mean? So I get it. I get it. Like I do agree with you on that as well.
it didn't need fixing.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. Again, the only fix that I would need was basically what Haru said as a fix essentially, for the card sync, which I think it works well. Um, what about you, Dark?
It's
No,
technically a gacha system, you know?
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
100% agree with if it's not broken, don't fix it. The RO1 card system is probably my favorite out of like
All the
any game that
iterations.
I've played dropped. Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause you know, you were always striving like, "Oh, that elusive GTB card," or, the mark cards and the PvP specific cards that people would
Mm.
go farm
Mhm.
Therafrog cards for hours just to put one on the market, keep one for yourself, or get one for each one of your guild members, you
Yeah.
know? I feel like it should go back to that because the newer like, "Oh, get 5 cards, upgrade it to blue rarity." Now you do a little bit more health and a little bit more damage or something like that. I feel like that's lackluster compared to like, oh, this card lets you gain the assassin skill hiding. You know, it needs to go back to being beneficial for like what you're looking to do within the game
Yeah.
over, stat boosts. Like I want something that's going to drop boxes of thunder when I hit a creature at a 50% chance or something like that. So I
Yeah.
feel like that's how it should go back to for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. And Mr. Linky.
For me, I also agree with Dark Society and also Chin and with looting cards. We don't really have that magic anymore. Like
Mm.
unlike in the good
Mm.
old days, like
Yeah.
whoa, Hydra card, yes, a damage to demi-human.
When you see that card
There's
logo on the floor.
then you die before looting it. Like
Oh God.
You
Oh,
get looted by
what a
Kukre.
nightmare.
Right.
yeah,
Oh, the
so
0.01%.
yeah, the
Yes.
0.01% drop rate. We don't have that magic anymore. It's quite sad. Uh, they really need to bring that back. Also, for collecting side of things, when I played Ragnarok uh, next generation, I really like the album collection, wherein you unlock certain stats. Like for example, I have some porings, lunatics, and fabric card. Like if I put it in the album card, rather in the collection card, it will give me some stats like damage to brute, like 1%, something like that.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
Mm.
uh, in a long term, you will be when you're doing nothing, you'll be looking at your collections. Oh, I still don't have that damage to brute. I'm lacking 1%. Like matters. Like that 1% really matters. So you go back to the grinding, or it's either you'll buy it from vendoring. I also like the thought of dismantling cards, like dismantling one card for a coin, then using that coin to buy us a said card that you need. So
Mhm.
yeah,
I got a
So
take
I'm
on that.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
another thing. Set cards like with where you have to
So
go out and get like 6 different cards to get a super boost to your speed or something like that would be
this is something that we'll talk about later
Eh,
too, as well, right? But like you have to realize, like
Yeah.
when you guys are talking about magic, the magic of like drops, that means that you
Mhm.
cannot
yeah.
have auto in your game. Because if you have auto in your
yeah.
game, you will not have that magic.
Oh, I got it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Huh?
agree.
Oh, I got it.
100%
Oh,
agreed.
I'll
I woke
honestly
up.
for the
Oh, I
auto,
guess I
like
got it.
Eh.
for the
uh,
auto, like they could just do like what other MMOs do. Like maybe instead of like a full auto, I call it like, since I'm also in QA, like I would do like, instead of automating things, I would like just semi-automate them. So instead of auto, have a macro system like that people can actually tweak. You know.
I, oh, I actually have a take on that that might be really good. Um, for those that played old school RuneScape, what if they just make it so that you like the only auto system is that you can AFK your character in a specific dungeon in a specific spot, and then they have an auto retaliate option where aggro monsters that attack you, your character like automatically shoots them back and kills them. That very much limits the amount of mobs that you can kill in X amount of time so that it doesn't give you too much. It just gives you like a little bit of an edge, you know? Like if you're in the Payon dungeon on an archer class or something, you only get the mobs that spawn here every X amount of time kind of auto. So it's not that bad, and maybe fix the spawn rate so that it's beneficial to everyone, because there's people that do that in RuneScape in different areas. And the other take, because I know that a lot of people are really liking the coin idea, but it reminded me of something, and I wanted you guys to have this in mind as well. Players are very good at optimizing in games. And what that happens is that it creates a single channel in the game that destroys an entire aspect of the game. And that's where I'm concerned, where a game like Destiny, if you got, you have these exotic charge that gives you like the highest rarity weapon, and then you can reveal it. And it could be something that you absolutely don't need. And there was no free trade. So you're like, oh, this is garbage. It took them a while to add a system where you can break that down, just like the cards, and then get a currency that you can use to buy the thing that you wanted. The fear with that is, and I'm gonna dog on World of Warcraft right now. If you want to get the best PvP gear at endgame, the only way to do it is to just do AV, which is the most boring and horrible out of all the battlegrounds, and you just have to spam it over and over and over and over. If they do the coin thing in row, players will find the most optimal route, and it'll be decided that this
Yeah.
monster in this area is the thing that you want to be killing to get the most possible coins always, and that's just going to be like a streamline only path. They got hundreds or thousands of monsters in the game, and everyone's just going to be killing the one thing
Only
to just get a bunch of those coins and use that to buy the card that they want, then acquiring a card to a monster that they never even killed. So it eliminates multiple facets of experiences in the game. Like,
the
now you have people that are geared with stuff that they're never even killed or farming, and it could add like that weird avenue.
the only flaw with that is that if you're saying that there is this min max stuff, everybody's gonna be doing. So then now it's no longer min max, right?
Right.
Yeah, because of the spawn
Yeah,
rates.
exactly. So it's like same thing, like comparison with BDO. Sawzins was the best spot at one point in time, but at some point you realize like maybe this isn't the best spot because I'm getting PvP like every 30 minutes, and I just want to grind right now, something like that, right? So the optimal spots might not be the most optimal after all, especially when the card rates are so low anyway. You might as well hunt for the card that you actually want, because
True.
like you said, if a boring card gives you like one of that currency, and then but you actually need like 500 to get like the hard pity basically for that card right there, or if not more, because it's equal value, right? So it's gonna be way more than 500, but just as an example, then yeah, you're better off farming for the actual card itself, right? So you have at least now you have that choice between the two, where it's like, yeah, you can go farm that card right now, or you could farm this mob, and then again you have to realize, like, even though this might be the quote unquote optimal spot, RNG is RNG. Like, you get, like, because of how low the card
True.
rates are, you could absolutely get cucked when you're farming, and then you could get nothing within like 5 hours of grinding. Right.
Right.
So yeah, that
Spend
would
6
be,
hours and doing Therafrog. Somebody comes in, gets the card right away. Boom.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
oh
Yeah.
man.
What
But I get
about,
what Irk was saying about
yeah,
the
Yeah,
like
but that's
sitting
a
in a
good,
certain place.
yeah.
Because the AI homunculus, you could do that. You could like sit your AI in there,
Yeah.
walk away for a bit while that thing farmed for you in that specific spot.
yeah.
I
But it
think that
was,
would be
yeah, but it was never like fully like optimal because of like how the design was in the beginning, right? And the counter thing, the only problem with the counter thing is like it's like it's basically a gateway drug. It's like, oh, they're okay with this. Like, you're essentially allowing the company to think like, well, they're accepting of this. Let's up the dose a little bit, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
you never wanna open that, that can of worms, because then they're like, oh, okay, test them out a little bit. It's kind of like how pay to win started in BDO, for example. BDO started like, yeah, we're not gonna have pay to win, period, and then boom, like there was that great like BDO like riot where people changed all their guild emblems to like no pay to win, because they were promised no pay to win, but then little by little, BDO added more and more pay to win mechanics, and we have what we have today, where you could essentially spend thousands of dollars and you can get close to hard cap gear, without even leaving like town. right? So yeah, it's very possible.
That just limits
Yeah,
the time of people being in the game too.
yeah,
Like once
yeah.
you're maxed out, the game becomes boring.
Hmm. Yeah. Um. So yeah, Vel, what do you think? What do you think of that change?
So for me, I'll go back to the Rommel stuff. So we're talking about min maxing. I'm I'm guilty of min maxing so hard that maybe I break the market a bit. So when you're farming in Rommel, you have like only like 3 hours maybe
Hmm.
to farm, and then you didn't get any loots.
Mm.
So the way that they do it is you have like the chain that makes you farm faster. So the time is divided by 4, I think, and
Hmm.
you get the 4 times XP and 4 times loot. And I tried using that and not using anything. The drops is different. So you get more when you're not using the chain, the dividing time stuff.
Hmm.
And I stand at that one spot and I'll leave it on for like the 1 day, and it keeps dropping. So for min maxing, yes, I agree with Hercules. Players will find a way to min max stuff. And for RO, I don't think there will be a PvP on ground, so it doesn't matter. You can only grief someone, and if you grief someone, you didn't get the stuff anyway,
Hmm.
right? Like the marionette spot on RO. I get grief so much there. That's the optimal spot to farm as a wizard, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
optimal isn't
And for the
always
card
optimal
stuff,
if it's too
yeah.
popular.
And for the card stuff, I agree with the point system, but I
Not
don't
so
really
much a
like it.
point system, but it's more like a pity system. Is basically what he was suggesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
PT system is
yeah,
I agree, but the point system I didn't agree that you can just pick stuff that you want. You can farm porings all day and then you get like Hydra like that.
yeah. Well, the problem is like
That's more of the
it's
balancing
yeah,
part na.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
again, you have to realize what a like pity system basically means. Like you have the worst of the worst luck. That's what that means. So
Yeah.
it's not like you're getting Hydra easier. Like it actually would be easier for you to just hunt the Hydra because again, if they keep the drop rates like somewhat like close to each other, like Hydra and pouring, the drop rate's gonna be like 0.01% for example, right? So like it's either you're banking on
Mm.
hard farming pourings, because there's less farm there, but then what if you have to, 0.01% chance to get a pouring card? What if you have to get like 1,000 pouring cards in order to get a Hydra, right? But then you think about it, I was like, well, I'm just better off like farming a Hydra, right?
Hmm.
But it's just more
Yeah.
like a sink again. It's just more like a sink because like you're eventually gonna keep getting throughout the life of the game, you're gonna keep getting useless cards, right? As you
Yeah.
keep
Mm.
farming.
That's another thing that they could do with the auto is like the game that I'm playing currently, they have an auto fishing feature. So if you manually
Give me 1 second, let me
fish,
use the
you
bathroom.
have a better chance of getting like the rare loot and stuff. But if you auto fish, it's like super dumbed down. So instead of like a 0.01% to get that rare thing, it's a 0.00001% chance to get the rare thing when you're autoing. So, like, if you're not autoing, you're doing it manually, you have a better chance of getting what you're looking for, opposed to when you're autoing, it's a way lower chance.
What if they make the autos things just PvE and PvP
Right.
is all manual?
Yeah,
I
What do you
think
guys
for
think about
sure.
that?
I think for
I
sure
would.
you should have to grind your gear.
I was also thinking like it would be really cool if they had, because man, it'd be really awesome if they had PvP maps to do PvE stuff. So if they made a map where the monsters that were present there, all of their cards were for like different slots of equipment or whatever, but they were all like demi-human damage, then they would make an entire area where everyone that's in the PvP scene needs cards from here. And if they enabled PvP there, it would be really interesting. Like a lot
That's
of big
kind
guild battles and Cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of like what PAX Die did. They made like a PvP zone that you could only get specific things in that PvP zone. So if you had to venture out as a PvE player to get those specific things, you had to go into that zone, you know?
Yeah. So I want to get Miss Faye's perspective on this one because we're past 30 minutes on this one thing. We still have like 7 others. Yeah. Miss Faye, any like last closing remarks on the topic?
Oh shit. Sorry.
Yeah, shit.
You good?
I thought I was muted and then not muted, and it was just. I have to work on that because I got kiddos running around.
No, you good. You good.
I agree with I agree with Dark. I'll keep it short.
All right.
I
Yep.
really
Yeah.
like having pets. I don't know. I really like that aspect. I mean, you could have just a pet, which just like helps you. I don't know. I think they're freaking adorable. To be quite frank, like pets and stuff. Like I like the homunculus and all that. And I get why people didn't like them back in the day, but I really like them, and I wish they made it right so it, people didn't not like it.
But do you like the aspect
That's about
of
it.
the card upgrading getting removed?
I I don't like the card system. Like I like the old one.
Okay, so
No
R1.
change was
Gotcha.
good.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's see here. The next thing we're gonna be covering is this one right here. So they're saying you might have noticed that we actually don't have a combat power system, and there definitely won't be a combat power ranking either. So why do we have a rating system for equipment or remnant echoes? This is simply a rating system, not combat power. Our goal is straightforward. By introducing a rating system, we want to help new RO players understand what kind of equipment they should choose. RO is a very complex game. The intricate systems that once brought joy to veteran players can actually become a barrier for newcomers trying to understand the game. Of course, when you actually play, you might notice that a higher rating doesn't always mean better DPS. The reason for this is that we've preserved the unique build diversity of RO, so players can still enjoy, for the most part, can still enjoy the process of creating their own build. Still, for the most part, a higher rating will help new players make well-rounded choices. So I do like the fact that they removed the combat power ranking in this one, by the way, because that's just usually when you see combat power ranking, that's just whale bait, right?
Yeah.
Because so they can get like the higher ranking power. So when you see that, you kind of know like the direction that a company is already going. But to say that we don't have a combat power system, I think that should be rephrased into we don't have combat power showing, because every game does have a
Yeah.
combat power regardless if you like it or not. Um,
Yep.
Again, and the other thing too is I get the concept that they're trying to do. They're trying to like make it simpler for newer players, but I think dumbing down your game can hurt you as well, because I think if you do have certain systems, I think you just need to be better at explaining them, or making it better at like making it clearer for the player base, right? It's like, the difference between a good teacher and a bad teacher. Because yeah, sure, you can dumb it down by like saying like, hey, by the way, this is better because it has like a higher rating. And then on the other hand, you're also telling them something that it's like, oh yeah, by the way, higher rating doesn't necessarily mean like good. Whereas, like, you could essentially just tell them, like, hey, by the way, you're a wizard. Okay, so you want to look for this stat, intelligence, you want to look for cast
Right.
speed, you want to look for
Exactly.
this, you look for dex. These are your stats, these are your primary stats that you should be prioritizing, and then this is your secondary stat that you should be going if you're trying to go for this build. Again, you are free to explore, and like, you could build a tank wizard if you want to. You could have that build diversity, but if you want to have like, this particular build, these should be the primary stats. You could tell that to a new player so that they can have something to follow, instead of just giving them a numerical number that might mislead them in the future, instead of that, right? Because then a veteran player who who really wants to build diversity and is building like off of like away from like what you're suggesting will build that thing anyway, right? Because they probably, the reason why a veteran player will do that is probably because they tested it already and it suits the type of content that they're trying to make. Whereas like if you're just going to give a player like, oh, by the way, equip this because it has a better rating, but you'll find out down the line that the rating's not everything. It's like you're setting them up for failure. You're giving them a hollow foundation at that point, and yeah, that's
Mhm.
basically how I think about like this whole approach, right? I get that what they're trying to do, but it's just done in a way that I think harms the player more than it helps. What about you, Irk?
I think that the more that I see stuff like this, that the more I think about how amazing the original was. And like you said, they could just let players know the things that you find out through, like if they're going to have an instant cast at a certain dex or something like that, just have it in the loading screens when you go through portals or something, or if you're going to have a maximum attack speed, and then have the breakdowns, like the stats and what they give you, whether they give you like melee attack power, or, whether they give you like agility gives you flee, and, dex gives you hit, like have those little breakdowns as they go through portals and let it play out. Like, I swear, you need to be able to sit your character down in town or parts of the game and just talk to people, because the original game did it awesome and everybody knew how to do everything, and everybody knew what cards were the best PvP cards, and everybody knew how to make fast attack speed stun builds and sleep builds and all kinds of stuff, because they sat around and talked to each other and they were like, hey, if you get this much dex through the use of cards, then you can cast your spells instantly. Or, if you build like a really high luck build on an assassin, you can make a crit build. And these are some of the cards. And then you start inquiring and finding out from other players what cards are best slotted for what, or what equips you should get. And that brings the social aspect of the game back, which is like one of the biggest parts of why everybody loved Row. So I think they did it right the first time. They could just add new monsters, add new cards with either new card effects or slightly stronger card effects on stronger monsters. But the first row was an extremely winning formula, and it's why we're all here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Information brokers, man, they're needed. And if you take that
Yeah.
away, it's tough to make content like that.
For me, the way that I use like combat power is just to see how much I progress. So if I equip this, oh, my combat power is going down. It's what I'm doing correct or no? So it
Mm.
makes people have a baseline that they can use to change their how they approach the increasing in power like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mr. Haru, what about you?
Okay. I'm gonna touch on another topic that's gonna come up later. So, for combat power rating and rating whatnot, uh, this is something of a solution to people who does not read at all. Like they just play everything. Like they just skip tutorials. They skip on guides. Everything. It's basically the solution, or like the as a like someone who's the in the game industry. It's basically the only one of the few solutions to people who does not read, since like they would see, my numbers went up, so uh that must mean that I'm doing something good for my character in a sense.
Yeah.
But as you said earlier, like this could be also something that they're building. They're building a player up to make them fall down harder. In that sense, it's more of for for the people who reads and specialize their character. Like I could be like an assassin, a glass cannon assassin that has like 1 HP, but like I could literally one hit everyone because I'm basically a glass cannon. But a new player who like balance every single stat to
Yeah.
50 or something like that would have higher combat power over me because of uh the gains or whatnot. So
Yeah.
in that sense, like it's liter for me the rating is literally a guide to the
Yeah.
players in a sense. But then if you want like a more specialized build, of course, like the player themselves will need to learn how to actually read, do calculations, what compare like what these cards do to me, and if I use this card over that card, would I deal more damage, whatnot. So that's as I said earlier, I'm gonna touch up on another like one that they said that in the damage formula for RO1 was complicated, and they wanted to they wanted to dumb it down. But then at the same time, you have the rating. So like you're kind of like you're confused. Like hello,
Mm.
like
Yeah.
what do you really want to do? Diba? Pero I'll add more to the
Yep.
formula later on.
What about you, Chin? What do you think about this?
Yeah. Maybe if it was more optimized to what they said their goal was, which was to help the newer players. Because yeah, like everyone's been saying, like you could get just higher stats, but it wouldn't really help them. And they did mention that, but rating's still going up. Like I know, like this is
Mm.
the pioneer test, and I'm running Rune Knight, and I scale with strength and agility. But if I increase my magic attack, my rating still goes up, right?
Yeah.
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 And there's nothing for me. So like, what was the point uh, of helping out newer players learn more about your character, your stats, or
Yeah.
your builds?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like and like even with the skills that were given to us now, like none of my skills scaled from magic attack, right? Like none. I know like some Ragnarok games they might have like Rune Knight breath skill scale with int or whatever, but
Yeah.
not this
Mm-hmm.
one. And like my rating's still going up with it. So
Yeah.
maybe if, the idea is there. Maybe if they could just optimize it. But again, like I think
Yeah.
Pato was the one who was saying something about how he was using rating on how to check. But if he's progressing or not, I think I have. I think I'm not. I think we also have it here, and we definitely have it in Dragonist where you can compare the stats.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if I'm aiming for more physical attack, it would just show, oh, it's a green number. If it's lower than my recent
Yeah.
physical attack, then it's a red
Yeah.
number.
So I think
I think yeah,
yeah. Go
I
ahead.
think that would be like a better indicator of like
Mm.
progress
Yeah.
compared to like just having like a, oh,
No.
what's this
Yeah.
yeah, that rating, yeah.
Because yeah, I agree with you there because it's crazy how it was like you need to equip this now. I looked at the stats; it was giving me strength as a
Yeah.
wizard versus like my
Yeah,
index or like invit, current one that I'm using, and I'm
yeah.
looking at it. It's like 100 rating higher. It's like if a new player equips this and you know some people were saying like yeah but they'll get confused, they might quit the game, yada yada all that. I was like, first of all, if their attention span was that low, they're probably just gonna quit your game anyway. They're just
Mm-hmm.
not interested, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like if you build that player up to have high battle power and then he gets his ass whooped by somebody with 20k lower like battle power, for
Yeah,
example, because he
exactly. Yeah.
built because he built horribly wrong, he's more likely to quit in that regard because it's like, what's going on, man? It's like I'm building all this like battle power. It's like, and now I
Yeah.
have to, like whereas like if the game just guided you from the beginning, just hey, by the way, like this is or guided you better, where it's like, yeah, this one is higher CP, but it doesn't have any of your primary or secondary stats that you would want in your build or your class, right? It's like, why would you
Yeah.
ever recommend me a higher rating P attack, majority P attack affixes as a wizard, and then actually have a prompt for me to equip it automatically because you're just saying it's just way better. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
Yeah.
this is just 2k more combat power, right? So
I'm guilty of this in ROO. I'm chasing like the combat power. I have
Yeah.
specific sets that say I have the preset that say the highest CP. So
the
I will equip all the yellow and the purple cards on
Right.
me.
Yeah.
That doesn't do
the
shit, but
the
my
flex.
CP went up like 20,000 or more.
Oh my god.
I did that too. Like
Yeah,
because
right?
Yeah,
like
you
with
guys are
the
menaces.
competitive guilds, No, like the guilds, they do CP check every like week or something.
Yeah,
Oh
for
god.
progress, right?
So yeah, like a progress check. So Pato was in home and I was in house. Like we were like the baby guild of home. So we had that like every week, every weekend or something
Mm.
like that. So when they do the screenshot, they do the checks. I I put on like all the red stuff, like all the high rating stuff first, and then afterwards, after you do the check, and then I revert back to my usual PV or PvP gear.
Yeah. What about you, Linky? What's your take on this?
For me, the rating system is bad because a lot of the rating system introduces inflation. Just like an MMR in MOBA games, like your personal ratings, like 10K, but it's just inflated. Your real skill is just below 7K. Like let's say for example, a sniper. I want my sniper to be a falcon type, not a critical type. So
Mm,
my stat would be separated around agi, intelligence, lower and max intelligence, then let's say a bit 60 on dex, then 30 on luck, something like that.
yeah.
Compared to a sniper critical build with max dex, high agi, then high luck. In on paper, the crit build would be stronger since it has higher dex, higher hit chance, higher crit rate.
Mm,
But when you go to a PvP scenario, you would check out, oh, why is this in sniper dealing so much damage? Uh, it, it's because I'm spec into intelligence. It
Yeah.
doesn't really introduces a variety of builds when it comes to rating system.
mm,
It it just focuses on what the strong build to go for right now, something like that. So you'll see a lot of build this max crit high damage, then you'll see less like build this falcon more damage. So again, the variety will be of builds will be less and less due to the rating system and also inflation. Just like what Veilink and Chin is doing, like they're inflating their CPs
Yeah.
like plus 20k
yeah, fucking
when it's gear checking
scumbags.
time. Then when it's PvP time, they're removing the stuff so it goes back to
Yeah.
normal. So yeah, I don't think it's good if they add them. Just let's they should just keep it simple, like in the uh OG days.
Yeah. All right.
Octopus hat. I used octopus hat till the end of ROO.
Okay, but yeah, I still remember that the indoor
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the shit.
I know.
Yeah, I could reset any adject alone.
Yeah.
What was it? Oh, so Vel, we already spoke about it, right?
Yeah.
So Miss Faye, what do you think about the whole concept of like them removing or engaging in battle
Combat
rating?
power.
Yeah.
There you go.
Um, I'm not really good at that. Like
No, you're
stats and
good. You're
stuff,
good.
I always have to ask Dark or people in our guild for help with that. But I mean, I, I can't really answer if I just said that.
Yeah, no,
I, I
that's
don't know.
fine, completely fine.
Done both.
See, I appreciate the honesty. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's better to just like outright say it than just to pretend. Some people would rather
yeah.
pretend. So yeah, I appreciate that. And so
If I can add something,
yeah, go ahead.
I played like the incremental high number things, the offline games. So the way that they have CP there,
Yeah,
you can prioritize things. So even the gear is higher CP, you can prioritize like the intelligence or the dex for what, like the edgy for the assassins. You
yeah,
can prioritize that. So the game will recommend you if they see that the item have that change, that increase in AG. Yeah, maybe they can implement that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
got one thing. So what I think is like if they have a need for this, like they're trying to help new players and stuff, what they could add is like a review system to the certain gears and stuff where like other people that have used the gear can put a little review on the side and like people could check those reviews and be like, oh, this will work good with my build, or this will work good with, if I'm looking to raise my intelligence or my dex or, you know, kind of like a gotcha game I play.
One problem is
Whenever I
like
get a
people will
new.
troll you on that thing, bro.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
there's always the
Yeah.
trolls
in
you got to weed
competitive,
out of those
Like
yeah,
if
we
you're
will.
looking for
but
information like that, you might as well look at a YouTuber's video. Like at that point.
right.
Yeah,
And that's another thing, like having the info brokers and like people that make guides and people that make videos on how to build this thing and stuff like that. If they dumb it down too much for new players, it kind of
I think
eliminates those
the
people's
best
yeah,
content.
in terms of
I'm
guidance,
gonna
the best thing that you can possibly do in terms of like stats like that is like when somebody hovers a stat, show them which skills and how
yeah.
how the formula
Plus
affects.
or minus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like if I hover over, let's say for example, like I hover over Dex. Let's say like let's say I'm a wizard for example, right? I hover over Dex and then all of a sudden it'll show me what skills will affect this for example. So let's say I invest 5 points into Dex, or I just hover into Dex like from the get go. It'll show me, let's say like, oh yeah, Storm Gust, like will reduce casting time by 0 point something, right? And if you add like, oh, now you added 5 points, okay, so the reduction is now at 0.9, something like that, and that would be a lot more helpful to a player because like, oh, I use this skill, oh, this
Yeah,
affects this
yeah,
skill, okay, I'm gonna do this one then, right? Rather than like, oh, by the way, get this. I was like, you could just have them hover over it and just like, you're I'm a auto attack, auto falcon like hunter. It's like I hover over. Oh, luck. Wait. Luck does what? Oh, luck actually increases my chances of autoing, of auto procking blitz. Or I hover over like int, and int's gonna tell me like, hey, by the way, it's gonna increase your overall blitz speed damage. So yeah, I think it's definitely something that's like helpful, in that
mm,
regard, where it's number one, a player can just hover over it and say, "Oh, it affects Stormgust," taking it. They don't even have to look at the calculations, right? So it
mm,
caters to both people that want to see that stuff, want to see the formula, and it caters to people that could give a fuck less as long as they know that it affects the skills that they use, and then you go with that instead, right? So it serves both types of players instead of like this whole thing where it's like you're essentially encouraging a player to have bad habits.
Yeah, I
mhm,
agree with that. It's what Path of Exile is doing right now. Like they have
yeah,
certain flavor text. Then when you hover your mouse, it indicates what the effect and what stat do you need for that skill to take effect. So
Mhm.
yeah, I do agree that when it comes to rating power and dumbing down information, they should put some tooltips.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna,
So, go ahead.
wait. I'm gonna add into that instead of like having a rate system, like make use of your large community, like use like a percentage kind of sense. This is done in another game that I play. Uh, Basically, for building units, they would say na an average of 60% of this player has this kind of stats in this area. So basically, like that would basically like be a visual guide to the new players to know which stat to focus on.
I think the
Like,
problem with that is it's too trendy. Like a big YouTuber could make a video about that and everybody's gonna follow it.
yeah,
And if he's wrong, you just misled the rest of your player base.
that is true, but kumbaga, it would probably still like it should update uh on a per patch basis maybe.
Yeah, but then but by the time that patch rolls out, like you've already misled, like let's say like 50,000 people. Then you have like extra 50,000 people that are pissed off because like what the heck, man, like this is like everybody's building this. For
Oh, I
example.
did that. Like I made like I made paladin guides before. I recommend them this headwear, but I use octopus hat.
Oh my god.
Wow. Wow.
I did that several
Yeah.
times. I have several videos on that.
Ridiculous.
Octopus hat is
The-
basically auto endure, and in ROO, if you used endure, you were immune to crowd control. So with my Peko Peko, I just tap
Yeah, it's
any
like a free
inferior.
Edgar.
Yeah, it's free
yeah.
Edgar.
Free
So
Edgar card.
yeah, so that's the thing. That's the whole thing about like the whole trendy thing. Whereas like if you did the thing where you hovered it and it showed you like what it affected and how much it affects it by, like you actually have concrete information regardless of like the type of player that you're showing it to, right? Versus like, oh yeah, let's yeah, by the way, 50% of players are using this and everybody's following the same guy on YouTube and if he happens to be wrong, you just cucked your whole player base. Right? Like, that's too much of a risk.
I don't know. I think it's a good guide, like a starting guide for new players, and it gives them more of the confidence to go out and play with other things to figure out what they do and what works well. I don't
Because
know
like
about that.
the whole thing why people like certain companies right like that don't show these like calculations and what affects what and how it affects it is because they wanted to maintain the mystery of these stats. They want people to figure it out themselves. But since RO3 is already saying, well, we just want to dumb it down, then why not just do that instead? So you're 100% guaranteed to never misguide your player base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mystery is what we love. Like, oh, what does this
Well,
item do?
yeah, history is good, but it's also like, I don't know, like,
It's not so much of like what we
Just
want or what we think. It's like the direction that RO3 is trying to take it. If they're already trying to dumb it down, then why not just give out the information instead?
yeah, blogs back in the day. Blogs was a real good way of blogging.
Forums.
What's it good? Forums and
Yeah.
blogging and that stuff. It was really big.
Yeah.
Um,
All right.
Sonia would always say, "Go in the forest, go." She would always yell at me to go and look, and I would just be like, yeah, never do.
Yeah. Yeah. So the next one that we're trying to cover here is, all right, we're still good enough. The next one we're trying to cover here is the regarding the Remnant Echoes. They're saying, I'm not sure if everyone has noticed, but it's actually a seasonal gameplay system. We'll be releasing content related to the seasons within seasonal game modes. Each season will feature both solo and multiplayer modes. You can look forward to that. Let me say something a bit controversial. Any RNG system without trading is just unfair. Without trading, it can make player experience really frustrating. For example, a playing player.
Frankie, your face is
What?
covering the text.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. There you go. Sorry. For example, a paying player might spend 1 million and still not get as much as a free player. But if trading is allowed, that free player can sell their items to the paying player for say 100,000 zenny. This way, the free player earns money and the paying player saves money. So we already see like hints of pay to win here too, right? Um. Uh. But yeah, it's Let me say something before. Yeah, RNG and trading is just fair. So I mean, I get where they're doing the trading thing. This is going to be a short one, by the way, because I don't think there's much to discuss here. But I feel like this one is just it. I get that getting things to be sold in the market because you might have gotten something that you don't want. But what worries me is not that. What worries me is the statement that follows after, where like a paying player. So now I'm curious. There's hints of there's definitely hints uh of the pay to win here now, right? It's like, are they able to buy that currency straight up, or is it like a thing like BDO where you can sell costumes on the market and get Zenny that way, and then you can buy the stuff that you need, or is it gonna be like how, like for example, like ROM C Zenny only server, and but you can buy Zenny with real money. What do you think about that one, Ark?
I think that I don't see why they wouldn't just make it so that you can buy whatever from the cash shop and then sell it in game. If you're gonna create a game with free trade and an open market, then I'm a huge fan of the old school row. Like you set up your little shop and you sell this item for X amount.
Mhm.
And if I buy a headpiece, pay to win, and I pay like $50 for this headpiece and I sell it in my little shop, there's going to be a bunch of other people that are also doing it. And the community will eventually figure out the prices based on the stage of the game. Like if everyone just started, nobody has a lot of Zenny. If the server's been out for 2 years, everyone has, either hundreds of thousands, millions, hundreds of millions, billions. It just kind of scales with time that way. And if they're selling, this headgear cheaper and I'm selling it more expensive, or if the headgear's not selling at the top end, then everyone that's trying to sell it, that's pay to win, is going to slowly start dropping it. And you just kind of create something that we can buy. Like I think that everything that is pay to win should be um, sellable. That way, the free market has access to all of the same things that pay to win players have access to, and they decide how that scales or what they put an importance on that's inside like the pay to win shop. That's how I think it would work well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Undead Frost said in the chat here, on a lot of custom RO servers, they have like where you could set up your merchant to either sell it for Zenny or they could sell it for cash points. And you could
Mm.
buy that item for cash points to buy things from the pay to win store. Or you could sell it for Zenny and use your Zenny to buy it from the Zenny shops. So there's like multiple different shops in some of the custom RO like private
Yeah.
servers.
Yeah. What about you, Haru? What do you think about that?
Sorry, I'm still trying to understand the statement. Can someone go
Yeah.
first?
Yeah, Chin.
Actually, like I no, I didn't quite understand it also. Like, could you like rephrase it?
Yeah. So basically, what they're saying here is they want uh people to be able to trade or sell stuff in the market or like in a the auction house or like the vending
Oh, okay.
vending
Yeah.
basically, because they're saying that like a paid player might spend 1 million and still not get what he wants, whereas a free player might have better RNG, and they can sell it and he can sell it for 100,000 instead of 1 million to the paying player, the whale or the spending player. But it's like in my head I'm like, I mean, that could also work in reverse, right? Like the free to play player could also get cucked and get really unlucky, and the whale could also get lucky, and now the free to play player is like essentially screwed. So yeah,
Maybe I can go first.
yeah, yeah,
So
Yeah, please.
for Rommel, for the Ragnarok Eternal Love, the
Snapping.
way that they use it, yes, it's snapping. If you have something that's unique, you you can sell it in the trade shop where all the people can try your luck there. So there's only one item and there's 200 people bid on it, and it only goes to one person that's lucky.
mm-hmm.
Not the first, not the last, but it's like a raffle thing. But
Mm-hmm.
you can drop it to the auction house too.
Yeah.
So in the auction house, the whale gets to bid on it. But um, what wait, I don't have the English word for it. Oh, the way that you can mitigate it, so the free to play player and the whale player
Mm-hmm.
can compete.
Yeah.
Maybe just put it in the auction house and like say the one Yanberry is like 10,000 zenies. So the prices have both. So the free to play can compete with Zeni and the whale can compete with the Yanberries. Maybe like that.
When it comes to like bidding, okay, so I mean,
Yeah.
this means that like now, if we are to go this route though, that means that we're now regulating the market now. Because if you want to do any type of snapping, the market has to be regulated 100%. Like you have to control the pricing the same way BDO does, the same way that ROM does, right? So now we're
Mm.
throwing out the free trade out the window for RO3, where they said that they wanted player to player trading, and they also wanted to have people be able to vend stuff. So instead of vending and putting your own value on your items, now in order for you to do snapping, you have to regulate the market. right? You have to have like a top bid
Yeah.
that people can like put pre-orders on.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, there's really not much to say about this one, but I wanted to tackle it anyway because it's part of the topic. And we can move on.
Yeah, I think we can move on because like this really depends on the gap of paying players versus free players, and also their luck.
Yeah,
Their luck is
and
also
yeah,
so
I think yeah.
it's hard to say to do anything about this.
Yeah. So I mean, also the other thing about that too is that it's too contingent on something that we don't know anything about yet, which is how are they gonna convert their IRL money to in-game money, Zenny, basically.
I have a question.
Mhm.
If we're thinking old bro, right? If we're thinking old bro, if they took obviously no MVP cards because that'd be way too overpowered. But if they took regular cards, right, and they sold old card albums to pay to win players, but you could also get them in game like you normally can through all the different methods, right? How much do you guys think an old card album would cost or should cost? What do you think is fair for that?
It's gonna depend
Because
on the market
Oof.
and the drop rate of it, if
I
ever.
think
Yeah.
that's a dangerous thing to introduce to a game. To be
Yeah.
honest with you, like that just
because
It
like all because all that's gonna do at that point is devalue like existing cards
the
because
cards.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because once
yeah,
you
but
once you put something as a hot commodity as like something that is could essentially be brute forced in way of like old car album like you might not be able to get like MVPs on it but you can get minis and if you can get minis right you know like the
no, no minis either, right?
yeah
No minis either.
but then you'd
And
have hydro cards you have your skeleton soldier like that is such
yeah,
a
you would.
yeah it presents the
It's the
same
same SRO, right?
yeah, so it basically presents the same issues that you would that you encountered in Rue that people hated about Rue. By the way, is that again? Why? So let's tackle a little bit here. Like for example, the pets, since it was discussed in the video earlier. Let's tackle pets for example, like in terms of scaling, right? So that it's more fresh in people's minds that played ROO and are watching in the audience right now. So pets in ROO, let's say like the Danelle, which was able to one shot whole guilds and it was
Mhm.
because people were able to brute force it with money to get it and get it beyond what just like a single hydro card for example, right? um and you got it to like max tier or even like half tier or even like a few just three tiers, two extra copies or three extra copies, right? And it was able to one shot people because you're introducing something to the game that is currently in scale of a way higher scope than what is available in the game. And that's why like level 40s, 50s, and 60s were getting one shot by these Danelles. And then when you get to level 90, when you finally get level 90 gear, and you were, you get the armor at like level 90, you were able to craft them. All of a sudden, like the Danelle starts tickling you instead, and they die really, really fast, right? But again, you're gonna introduce that stage in the game where everybody's just suffering. Because right now, in if you were to not introduce that, whales can whale out. Yeah, sure, absolutely. But they're not gonna have the Hydra cards, the Thyrofrog cards all in one go, if they were to buy the old card albums because they would only be able to buy it based on like what's in the market, right? They can't pay to win it if it's not available in the market, which means there's still that scarcity in the market. So like sure, maybe somebody gets really lucky and he decides to sell the Hydro card instead. Sure, the whale now has one Hydro card. Nice, right? Nothing game breaking, right? He's not fully decked out in like purple cards already. He's not like double Hydra, double Scale Worker with a Thara Frog and a Raedric card and all this, right? So presenting something that can provide items or a type of power that is not within the current scope of the game at the current level that it's at will absolutely overturn the balance. And that's why you don't want that type of thing in your game as a as something that can be attained through real money.
I don't
I
think
agree.
I don't think pets should be like battle pets. They should be more like
Yeah,
stat boosts, like original
Yeah.
RO.
Stat boost is good.
Yeah.
and
Um
I think that like what you said, right? Looking at it, if there's no MVP cards and no minis, right? If you ever opened in row for any reason, like two,
Mhm.
300 old card albums, if there's no minis and no MVPs, and you made those old card albums like $15 each or $20 each, um, you could essentially spend hundreds of dollars and get absolute garbage, like a bunch of pouring cards. And like whenever you open a lot of OCAs at the same time, you just like are just RNGing where the vast majority of anything you can get is garbage. And then if you get something like an imp card, you know, that would be what you're talking about, where it's like if you were a sage and you had an imp card or something, it would make you really, really strong, but then that would also flood the market with a bunch of cards for all different builds coming from the pay to win players because they're going to keep onesie twosies that they like or that they want. And it would be like questionable, depending on how expensive they make it, if it's worth the gamble. Like, I would be one of those people that would be like, oh, you know what? I'll throw $60 at like, you know, like 3 or 4 card albums, and then I get absolute garbage with it. And I was like, well, I just lost $60. Holy crap, you know? But
Yeah.
you could get lucky. I saw it as like as long as you restrict the top end, or even if you take like non mini boss, non MVP cards that are very strong out of the equation, it could be a money sink because ultimately, I think we all have the understanding that there is going to be something in the game that requires people to spend a lot of money on the game to sustain the game. And I see that as like we have to choose the lesser of two evils of how it's going to go. And better than having pets that can one shot people or items that can one shot a whole guild, you know,
But I think
having things that are more tapered.
there's a viable world where you can do without both, because like if you try to
Yeah.
sell, even if even if they don't drop minis, even if they don't drop like MVPs, right? Like what's gonna happen is that there is gonna be whales like RO, for example, like
Mm.
top end whales. How much do they spend in like the first like couple months? 500,000 USD, right? And there those people
Yeah.
will exist, and they exist in large
Yep.
numbers. And if RO3
Yep. Yep.
especially is prepared to be a mega server with multiple channels, that means those krakens will exist in the same sphere as you, um, and they're going to saturate the market. It instantly will devalue every single card that's available in the game that's
Yeah.
not a mini. So unless you're free to play that somehow gets really lucky that you get a mini card or MVP card, nothing that you get, even if it's a Hydra card, even if it's a Therafrog card, nothing will be of value because the market is so saturated by them already, right? Because they don't have any other uses for it. If they're going to remove the card leveling, they don't have any uses for it either. They're just going to toss it in the market. And it just devalues the again, when we talked about the magic of getting a card drop, that instantly disappears because like, oh, I got a Therafrog card, yay. Ah, shit, there's like 500 of them in the market. It's only like 1 week into the game, right?
Yeah, that's a fact. That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah. So it's, I think there's a world where a prime example is Throne in Liberty, right? Throne in Liberty, first of all, having Lucent be, or AKA like Nyan Berries or the premium currency at this point, being the only currency they could use to buy stuff in the auction house already was a horrible idea, in my opinion, right? And the only the only argument that people have, well, you could farm it. Yeah, sure. If you were one of the people like me in the beginning and I already had the experience from Korea, yeah, sure. I could absolutely gain a lot of like thousands of dollars worth of Lucent as I did in the game back then. But what about everybody else? Right? They have no avenue now because everything's so everything's so depreciated now in cost and in price, right? But the only reason why that was even acceptable in Throne of Liberty was because of the scarcity. A whale could spend 100,000 USD all he wants. He's not gonna get a single. He's not gonna get a single arc boss weapon if that arc boss weapon is not on the market. And even if he did, it's not even guaranteed that he's gonna get it either, right? Because somebody else could get it, could get it like ahead of him. Um, yeah, it's just certain things like that that um makes levels of pay to win in a game. Like for example, too, like BDO, Black Desert Online. Sure, a whale could absolutely like buy all these like costumes and all that, right? But it's not going to devalue things as much as like that, because people already have been grinding these costumes. Even if you turn them into basically like free enhancing items, is no longer outside of the scope of the current meta. If they had done this maybe like at the very beginning of the game, this would break the balance so badly that you would probably have guilds that would require people like, hey, by the way, if you don't spend 10 grand this month, you're out of the guild. right? And they would just win because they would just stomp on people for the longest time until everybody catches up. But in the meantime, everybody's having a horrendous time playing the game because they're just getting stomped, right? Like it's not gonna be that much fun if you're getting stat checked all the time, right?
Yeah.
Uh, for this topic, uh, I need to like know more in a sense na is the card album coming from the free to play player or
No,
the
he's
card
saying in the
album
market
is
where you
coming
spend
from the
$20 to get it, like
Yeah.
a
so
cash
it's
shop.
it's
Yeah.
from the so it's from the store, so it's a
Game
paying
store.
player gets it then sells it to a free to play player and like something like that, or is it the opposite, like the free to play player like
The
somehow
whale
got
the whale buys it from the market. He opens it to get all the purple cards they needs: Hydra, skeleton workers, Therafrogs, Raydrix, all that. Nope. Yeah.
okay.
And then sells it.
Okay.
Like basically, my thing was the other thing. Like you guys were talking about the VIP. If they didn't have a scalable VIP system, and they just had a VIP system that was like a membership that just offered XP boost for like base XP and job XP or something, and maybe like a little bit of storage or like free teleports to or like dungeon level teleports or something. I think they could make a lot of money because my thing is here's my concern. Everyone is worried about how pay to win is going to break the game. But I think people should be concerned with giving them options of how it could be done, make them a ton of money and not break the game. Like I think those things should be discussed because that way all the people that don't want that to happen can be in control of the direction that stuff takes.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
But
maybe we should give them this kind of option.
yeah. But the thing is, like
Because they
now, those are like two entirely different things, though, because one will actually break the game balance. One is just pay to progress, like in terms of like XP, job XP, all that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, but
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. That's why I suggested the card album and the card shop thing situation because in my mind I'm trying to figure out ways that they can sustain the game, make good profit, be happy, and not have to kill the game with pay to win, which they ultimately will do if they can't have like a membership or like a VIP system or
Mhm.
certain items in the cash shop that help them meet thresholds because they are running a business. We got to remember that.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
like I'm very concerned of like because I don't want even as a pay to win player, I also don't want the game to be destroyed by pay to win. So like
Yeah.
in my mind, I'm always trying to figure out a way like how could pay to win be done? And the one thing that everyone seems to agree on is cosmetics. So that's like one answer that we have for them.
Mhm.
Go heavy on the cosmetics. Let me make my Peko Peko golden, or like let me put some dragon armor on my Peko Peko or something, and people would be willing to pay a lot of money for that. Or like someone mentioned, a one of one mount that could be auctioned off or bid, or like there's only
Yeah.
10 of these mounts going to be sold and they're going to go for a crazy amount of money. That's something that wouldn't hurt anyone
All right.
else's gaming
Okay. One sec.
experience
One
and
sec.
is purely
I don't
aesthetic.
want to derail the conversation too hard. That was a sub topic that we covered before already. And again, it's not something that we can speak on right now because, like I said, we don't actually know what the payment system is gonna be. I don't want to derail the conversation
Yeah.
too hard. We just went from like one entire
Trading card.
topic to yeah to entirely different one. So I'm gonna bring the conversation back. And again,
Yeah.
that was a short topic that we were gonna be discussing. So I want to move on now to
Like,
something
can I give
else.
my take? Like a very short one?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I might have to agree with Veiling. Since I played ROX, what they did was you had the opportunity to exchange your currency to premium currency.
Yeah.
So in that time frame, you can compete with other players that can, like, for example, a whale buying this prestigious strong bow. Uh, I versus me, free to play. So I have X currency. I can trade it to premium currency. So I'll be also able to buy or compete with that prestigious bow.
Or
But
you could
that's
just
just
have a
me.
system that's not kind of ballistic in a way where it's like you don't have to spend exchange like your Zenny. Why not? If you're gonna exchange Zenny for premium currency in order to buy something, that means that that thing can only be bought, and you're competing with somebody. So I'm guessing it's an auction house or marketplace environment,
Yeah,
right?
something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. So like that, why not just have Zenny be the currency for that then? Why go through the steps?
Yeah,
Because now you're
kind of true,
because
but
yeah, because now if you say that, that means that you're now presenting a case where essentially you're asking
You can buy
for,
zennies.
you can, yeah, well, not only that, but like you're also saying at that point, right? Because like I said, in order for you to exchange your zenny into premium currency to contest a bid in the marketplace with somebody, so that means now the marketplace is purchasable only with premium currency. So why take the extra steps and why not just make it zenny instead? What's
I agree
the,
with that.
yeah, what's the value of somebody, exchanging zenny for premium currency when the end result's going to be the same anyway?
Yeah,
Is it is it kind of like WoW in that way? Are you talking about WoW, how you can earn points to pay for your membership every month? I'm confused.
Nah, different. It's WoW is more like your
different.
member, your subscription. This one
Yeah.
is more like you're using premium currency to buy anything in the market, anything and everything in the market. See,
Kind of like
that's
Neverwinter
a,
Nights.
yeah, that's a very very slippery slope, and it's just, yeah,
Yeah.
again, it just feels like a gateway for even more egregious pay to win, which would end up
Mhm.
killing the game, right? Because like anytime,
Yeah.
yeah,
That
that's what,
way,
yeah, yeah, like that's
that way
what,
the free to play is gated on that. So they have to delay the progress to buy that specific things.
Um, I know I can't specify. I mean, there's off RO servers that do that. They have um
The cash points.
the cash points, and it works. I think for them, don't that doesn't it?
I mean, it works for the most part, but um, I get what they're saying with like that. What would stop a whale from purchasing everything and like being
It's his
overpowered?
money. Well, to be honest, he's the one who's spending all that money, and he wants to do that. So, like, I look at that as like, well, he kind of paid for it. I mean, if you think about it.
Right, but I think they're
I
more
think the
we're more
difference
looking for like
is in the base of the game. So
yeah,
RO1, even RO1 have whales, and they can whale out. But the difference between RO1 and ROO, you as a free to play player, you can achieve that through grinding, through luck, and through buying stuff from the markets that the player base itself sustain. So you can buy Hydra from other people, and
Well, when it
that
comes to
people get the Hydra
marketplaces,
card
and
from the game.
yeah, but
Yeah,
in any
sorry.
MMO
Mhm.
RPG, marketplaces go up and down all the time. It's
right,
like a
Yeah,
fluctuate.
thing.
yeah, but that's not the premise.
I'm
That's not
even
the problem, bro. The premise is like the moment that you require premium currency to purchase anything in your auction house
yeah,
or marketplace, that's, you're already going down a very slippery slope.
Well, that's when you have like that third currency though. The third currency is like a medium to that where you could earn it in game if you don't have the
Yeah, but
money
why
to
have
do
that
it.
when, like the source is Zenny only? So why not just have Zenny? Why have a convoluted process and currency system
Well,
when
And it's more.
the base is Zenny anyway?
I
Yeah,
think it's
Fatty's looking at it logically. Like you're just adding an extra step that doesn't really need to be there to make people
yeah,
that are free to play feel like they're getting a premium currency. Like just scratch all of it and just, oh, you bought stuff from the pay to win market, put it on the auction house for silver, just like everything else in the game, and just have silver be the only currency in the entire game.
track now. I
yeah, I
backtrack.
Yeah,
could
I
see that.
understand what you're saying.
yeah,
I understand now. I take back. Take pixies.
Right.
yeah.
We
But
can
yeah,
probably move on
yeah, yeah,
now.
yeah.
yeah. Move on.
Yeah, because we were supposed to not spend much time on that. We actually spent the most time on that.
We're all
uh,
passionate about
yeah.
not.
Let's see. All right, so this one right here. I think this might, was this the last one so far? Let me see. Let me double check.
What's that one?
Uh, one
You're
second
covering
You're
it.
blocking it
here.
again.
No, it's okay. I'm checking my phone right now to look at if
Right.
he responded to anything else. One second. Dash. Okay. Now we covered that one already. Right. Okay, this is actually the last one. All right, gotcha. All right. So let's read this one here. For those who are still playing, this is a response to why like seasons, um, are gonna be a thing, and this is a big topic, but I think this is actually pretty crucial
Mhm.
because somebody asks essentially like, hey, by the way, so what's the deal with these seasons? Why are they there? And what are they gonna do? What's gonna happen to our previous like items that we got from the previous season? All that, and their answer was, for those who are still playing, they have a brand new content experience. Each season's builds offers a fresh visual and control experience. You've probably noticed that after completing a season's builds, the visual and auditory experience changes. For example, the Assassin Cross turn becomes Thomas turn. So basically, you know how like Cross the spin move from GXs is like they're spinning on their feet,
Mm.
and then it turns into like he's doing windmills on the ground. That's essentially
Yeah.
what they're saying here. For lapsed users, they can easily return without much cost, like people who quit the game or stop playing or something like that, or new players, because everyone starts at the same point in the new season. They need to start collecting and trading all over
Mm.
again. For new users, the learning curve is low. For example, after 20 years of operation, R1 is very user unfriendly because there's so much knowledge to learn. Acquiring new users is extremely difficult. Thus, the seasonal development process will ensure the longevity of our game and ensure a steady stream of new users. Um, so for this one, it just kind of conflicts with everything that they're trying to do. Number one, they
Yeah.
want you to have a grinding system, which is equivalent basically to essentially what is a vertical progression game, right? BDO, Ragnarok 1, Lineage, Rising Force Online, Rose Online, Ran Online, all these like old Korean MMOs, right? These are all vertical progression MMOs. But since they're presenting this, so everybody starts at the same stage every time you go here. What's the point of having vertical progression? I feel like the aim that they have here, the features that they have in the game, essentially are all very vertical progression centric, and then they present this right here, which is very much horizontal progression centric, aka similar to Guild Wars 2. So I feel like the game right now doesn't even know what it is. Because I get it, sure. You want people to be able to catch up like quick, which is fine. That's one of the beauties of like Guild Wars 2. But no, but then people don't have anything to grind for. People don't have anything to play the game for example, right? And I think the issue of like, oh, by the way, after 20 years, R1 is very user unfriendly. Maybe R1 was very user unfriendly after a very long time because your catch up mechanics are dog shit or non-existent. Maybe that's why it's hard to acquire new users, right? Because number one, it's like your catch up mechanics are just not there. They don't exist, right? If I played R1 a few months ago and those catch up mechanics are non-existent, right? You're gonna struggle hard as a new player because there are no catch up mechanics. There's barely any. The best that they got was the Eden group, and that was like what, 10 years ago.
Mhm.
And so when you look at it from this like scope, right now, man, it just doesn't make a lot of sense because I feel like you have a game that doesn't know what it wants to be. It wants to be, it has like vertical progression systems, but wants to have a seasonal thing that pretty much like negates everything you did before. So that's basically a horizontal MMORPG, but at the same time they want you to grind. Like what exactly are we gonna be? What's the game trying to be here? Like I feel like it's very very confused. Like
That,
why not just be a vertical progression game, since those are the systems that you have, and have an actual good catch up mechanic instead?
yeah, that statement worries me because what would be the point of saving or collecting or anything like that if you're just going to start back over on the next season? Like, that takes away that whole RO1 aspect that we love of collecting and
Yeah.
grinding and getting all that rare stuff, and then boom. Oh, this month you're all starting back at zero. None of it works.
Yeah,
Mm.
so maybe you keep your cards, that's it, that stuff, but eventually, you know, I don't know. It's I'm gonna grind for something, and then it's just gonna be. But then if it's gone, that's gonna piss me off. I'm not gonna want to play the game. If it stays, that's gonna piss the new players off because they're like, "Whoa, like he has this build. I can't even like his build is really good. I can't even, but I can't copy this build. I can't play this build because the season's over for that one, and it's gonna come back like when next year. Oh fuck, you know what I mean? Like, what are we like? What is RO3 trying to do right now? What is RO3? What is
Yeah.
RO3's identity right now?
Uh, for me, can I go first on this part?
Go for it.
Go ahead.
I think that they're trying to do is like similar to PoE, like new seasons every 3 months. Like you start on a fresh economy, like uh go back to level one or something, leveling up. But I think what they can do here is, for example, a new season comes around. The previous gears that you got from the previous season, I think you can. What they can do is put it in a collection UI or something that gives you certain amount of like let's say for example, if I have collected all the previous items from last season, then started on a new season, those existing items from season 1 gives me X amount of damage on the new
Yep.
season, like 1%, like just like a minimum damage. Like if I have this 5x items from season 1, it gives me additional 1% damage on this raid alone on season 2. So
But that would
it will still introduce like grinding, since it
But that would
it will
defeat the whole purpose of them doing this to begin with. Because they're saying after
Yeah,
20
it
years
would.
of operation, R1 is very user unfriendly. Well, guess what? Like all those
Mhm.
1% stack it up after 20 years. Oh, it's definitely going to be unfriendly.
Yeah, and at
Yeah.
that one part where
yeah,
it
but
says
you
you
can
need to
still
start
what you can
collecting
do
and trading
is
all over again. Mm-mm.
what they can do is like keep it in the they won't remove the content. Let's say let it's available even if the current season is running. Then if you're doing nothing, like you've done all the rest of the MVPs dungeons for the day, you can run those dungeons. Then those old dungeons just give you that items. And let's say you can run those dungeons for 5 minutes, or if you're a VIP or something, like auto raid, then it will be done. Then yeah, you're pretty much collected all of the previous season stuff.
Maybe if I can add something. So for PoE is mostly you play PoE for a single player experience. And
Yeah,
you can replay it like even before the season ends, you have like two or three characters. But if you imagine you played RO1 and then the next season you start from level one again, no one will
fresh. Yeah.
play RO1. So
Yeah, but what I'm
yeah.
trying to say is the
Mhm.
level is not reset, of course. Just the items, like the season one items from that raid's not available anymore, since they want they're trying to introduce brand new content for season two. But what they can do is something like that, like keep it at the back of the UI, the dungeon UI. Then if you're done with all the stuff, you can simply just raid that old dungeon, get those items that you need, the build it up so you can get that 1% damage, for example, for this season two raid, something like that.
Yeah, but then
Okay.
that would beg the question again, like what kind of game is RO3 trying to be?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That is the question.
Can
Yeah.
I get on this?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So for me, what I'm understanding here is that it's gonna be like instead of like vertical and horizontal, it should be more of like sideway T progression, in a sense that this like new season, instead of making the older season irrelevant, the new season simply like introduces like a new build in like for a specific skill, like let's say for season 1, uh uh Storm Gust build is like super prevalent or something like that. Then like for season 2, we want like something like a Meteor Storm build or like Vermil- uh Vermilion build to be prevalent. So we're gonna introduce this build. So in that sense, like everyone's on the end game, but at the same time, like on the season 1, like those builds would still be like would still matter because of I know, but this would be more of this would only issue that this would probably cause is balancing. And yeah.
So
It would take
essentially,
so
you're
much
still gonna
time.
piss the player base off. Is what I'm
Yeah.
getting from
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
Yeah.
here's the thing, because like RO1, like they said, like after 20 years of operation, RO1 was very user friendly. Like you, you're not
But
seeing the 20 years.
but do you think? But do you think
An
that's
MMO, I don't know, an
the?
MMO survived for 20 years.
Yeah, but here's the thing
Let's say
though.
like that.
Is like I'll ask you this: is R1 being user unfriendly after 20 years because of vertical progression, or is it because of they just have really shitty catch up mechanics? BDO is doing
It's
fine. Like even though
yeah,
granted, like BDO is like 10 years, like a little over 10 years old, but they're able to make do with it, right? Like they're it's kind of like sometimes their methods are like very band-aid mechanics, but then eventually as they develop more content, they do offer and especially coming into there as like as somebody who's not spending money, I'm able to enjoy these catch-up mechanics and actually have effective catch-up mechanics, right? So it's like what's stopping RO1 from actually revamping their whole system in RO3 with way better tech compared to before, and better implementation of things on a much better engine instead of whatever this is they're trying to be.
For this kasi like the catch up mechanic and everything, right? Uh Basically RO1's problem was that the vertical progression was way too long. That's the gist of I'm getting here.
Is it a
That's
problem
why
though?
they what hmm?
Is it a problem though?
Uh it's yun nga, for in a business sense, not in a gameplay sense, okay? In a business sense and for the survivability of the game itself, it it is in a sense a problem. That's why they try from what I'm seeing here is that they wanted like a sideway T instead of like a I know. But yun nga, it's gonna cause balancing in that sense. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's
Uh
so let me get this straight, right?
so what you're saying in BDO, right? So for the catch up mechanic in BDO, uh you could like you could start at any point and you can still end like on everyone on the end, right? Like on the end point of the vertical, right? Like it's not that long or like I know I'm not sure because I don't play BDO. So uh like whenever like a new class comes up or something, like do you like start from level 1 to uh basically you create a new character, you forgo the the your old character for that new class, or like I don't know, you need to explain to me in the video.
Well, I think in BDO you have
You
the
could
opportunity, like when a new class is released, if you're already a high level, you can jump to like level 50 or something like that with the new character
you could
released.
easily get power leveled. You could tag it to copy like the gear over, and every time that the soft cap goes up for BDO, the previous levels tend to become easier. But the thing about BDO is like it's not the levels that is their journey. Their journey is the gearing process, is essentially what it is. right? In the same way, in the
Okay.
same breath as like RO. So like if you're saying like in terms of like from a money perspective, prolonging that journey actually might just net you more purchases of like, because otherwise if you make the journey like really short, then you're not selling XP scrolls. You're not selling like drop rate scrolls if there's no vertical progression, right? So if you, that's the thing, it's if you're going the horizontal progression route, which is basically what this is, like let's for all intents and purposes, like having this every season is horizontal progression. This is essentially what Guild Wars 2 does. Um, then wouldn't you be missing out on a lot of like avenues for revenue? Because there's no way that you're gonna be able to sell pay to progress stuff in the same way that a vertical progression game would, where the journey is in getting into like level 99, for example. Right? Because again, you have to realize like the way that they're advertising this game, RO as it was meant to be. So unless RO was either number one, built to have a built-in open core function in it, which I hope not, or RO2 as it was meant to be is a horizontal progression game. And I think, and I'm not like I could be assuming here, but if you make RO into like either one of those games, especially a horizontal progression game, you're probably gonna piss off damn near everybody. Like I guarantee you, people who are looking forward to this to be RO as it was meant to be is gonna look at this right now and it's gonna be like, what the fuck is this shit?
I'm going back to RO1.
Yeah, I'm going. You know what I mean? Like I'm going back to BDO. Like you know what I mean? Like why would I want to deal with this?
Yeah.
I think
Maybe
everybody
it's
just
because of
wants
this.
Pro One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Why RO1 works?
I don't.
Because of me. Sorry. Because for me, RO1 is not just competitive. You can be competitive, and you will play with competitive players,
Mhm.
right? So Will that bought out all those gears will fight other Wills that bought off that gear, and they have a fight about it. And me, so I am a casual RO1 player. I just farm, and I will interact with people. So just for the company, just for the my friend plays. Oh yeah, and we never go to guild wars and everything. And there's someone who enjoys that, and there's someone who enjoys the competitive part of RO1, right?
Yeah.
So
I think.
when did RO become so competitive?
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's I mean I agree.
Yeah,
I agree with that, right? So I feel like there's supposed to. I always tell people this, like, right? It's like stay in your lane. If you're not a competitive person and you know that you're casual and you have a casual schedule in terms of like availability, be casual.
yeah,
Don't try to compete with the guys that you know you will never be able to keep up with in terms of like investment into the
yeah,
game, like time investment
yeah.
wise, right? Like don't try to keep up with those guys. My one of my prime examples was when I first played R1. It took me 6 months to get to level 99. Right? Does that mean
Mm,
that I was a bad player because I
Feel
was
you.
because I was like casual? Not really, because like then I went to the Ragnarok Philippine Championships in 2005 as a 12-year-old. I was the youngest player there, right? It doesn't mean that because I got there a lot later than everybody else doesn't mean that I was a worse player, right?
yeah,
So, but that was like what life was for me at that point, right? Because I was a student. Like I barely had enough money to number one buy the 1 week like time card to be able to play the game,
Right. Yeah.
and I also had to
yeah,
spend money on the internet cafe shops to be able to play the game. So the amount of time that I was like able to play it was very limited, even as a youngster, right? So the thing is like that's why when people say like, oh, but I'm old, I don't have a lot of time anymore to play the game. It's like, yeah, man, when I was young, I didn't have time to play either. How come I still enjoyed it? You wanna know
yeah,
why? Because in those 6 months, I'm looking at the people that are competing and they're doing the war, are doing like the wars, or doing the PvP and all that. I was like, man, eventually I'll be able to do that. But in the
That's
meantime,
kind
I went at my own pace. I stayed in my lane. I was, by all intents and purposes, a casual player, even though I
yeah,
wanted to be hardcore, but that was what life gave me at the time. Like I could only grind like an hour, 2 hours, like every other day, right? But in the meantime, while I was playing the game and I was actually learning the game, because like in my journey to that, I was legit not instead of autoing, I was actually playing manually and I was reading my skills, right? I was experimenting on stuff, right? And games
That
not
and the
in games
rates.
now yeah in games nowadays it's like it's not even nowhere near as punishing. Like you have to realize I made a pure luck acolyte in the beginning because I thought it meant better drop rates, right? I fucked that up already in the
Yeah.
beginning. Nowadays, if you fuck up like that, you could just reset your character. You could just reset your stats, easy,
Yep.
right?
Well, that's like the newer RO servers, like the RO official servers. You can go for like 1-1 rates at a higher drop rate, or you can make yourself 100 rates at a lower drop rate to make yourself level quicker but get less loot, or level slower and get better loot. They've got the rating system for like level XP, job XP, drop rate.
Uh,
Because
I have a take for the ketchup mechanic situation. Like, I was listening into Fatty talk about like BDO, but the BDO catch-up mechanics do not translate correctly to row one, assuming that that is the foundation that we'll use to make a great row three, right? But if what somebody just put in chat a little bit ago, where you have like a seasonal server, and then you can graduate from the seasonal server and go to the main server, instead of mixing it all up and doing all that, I don't think that I think they're not hitting the mark on this post. They're suffering from the exact same thing that World of Warcraft Classic is suffering from at this moment. And I just brought a bunch of people from BDO to World of Warcraft 1, like Classic, and made a guild there and started up, and they're all having the same issues. Everyone in the game knows how to do everything already because they understand the game, but the issue is that all the videos and guides on YouTube look like crap, and they're really really old because the game's like over 20 years old, and nobody's making new ones because everyone already knows all this stuff, and they're like, nobody's going to be looking at all these guides, and the amount of new players coming in is not enough to make creators want to make all these guides and all this stuff that's already there in lower quality or a little bit crappier, and that you're going to find out about by just asking somebody in the game quickly anyway. They're not thinking that this is a brand new game where they're adding new features, new everything, and people are constantly flooding. Like me and Fatty are putting out new videos about what we know or understand about the game. Like there's going to be a ton of build videos being out, and the way you bridge that gap is by having creators involved and taking care of your creators for your game. So anytime something comes out, there's a bunch of videos flooding. And instead of doing like a seasonal server, you could just say, if you make a new account and you're starting the game a little bit later, here's a bunch of free EXP scrolls and this and that. And to prevent people from making a bunch of accounts and using them, make them character bound. So, oh, you're going to start a level one character brand new. Here's some XP scrolls and stuff to get you caught up. Here's some drop rate scrolls, but they're bound to this fresh, like level one character. So you can't trade them to your other characters. And then I don't think there's like, it's like, wow, like right now we're about to unlock like let's say like you unlock molten core, then bwl, you go through the phases. When you're at the last phase of the entire game from back in the day and somebody else is starting new, all the people that are already super hyper geared, the game creates things that they still need to come back to like the first raid or the second raid or the third raid for, like Thunder Fury, and then they go in there and they just blitz the raid, effectively passing on all the gear that they're already over geared for and passing it on to the new players that are just kind of going through the catch up mechanic and going through those systems. So I don't think it'd be too difficult for them to create channels like that. I don't think the catch up mechanic is going to be a problem if they give like item drop scrolls, and you kind of find out what you need. You get to max level and you hunt the cards you need. They may not be like mini boss or MVP cards, but they'll be good enough for you to be effective in PvP or PvE. And then,
but
it shouldn't take you long. Like 6 to 8 months of playing the game should get you to like a little bit below where the top people in the game are.
um, well, here's the thing too. It's the you started off with basically people are coming into like classic WoW not knowing what to do because there's no information out there. But again, that's what I said, right? Like it's is it is it is it vertical progression's fault that that stuff is hard to come by for new players, or is it gravity's fault that they didn't implement better systems and better tutorials for players? In terms of catch up mechanics with like with like XP scrolls and everything, right? Like that's nice, but that's not gonna teach the player anything, right? Like
Yeah.
whereas like a better system or a better catch up mechanic uh per se, besides like a few XP scrolls. I think actually, I disagree with you on the seasonal part about like BDO. I think that after doing seasonal myself on trying to progress to qualify for the tournament and everything, I think the seasonal system in BDO is actually pretty nice. Number one, it sets you up to have uh to know and learn how end game gearing works, since the season itself, again, season is basically a fast track system, um, right? It's like a hyper boost server, so to speak, right? So it's going to boost you technically to towards like mid game already. But in that space, what BDO does really well is that it does teach you, it does show you what how like how end game gear functions, in a way, right? It doesn't do it perfectly, but then again, that's the beauty of like RO3 starting now, is because there's so many like real world like examples out there already that you can learn from. Like you essentially get all that information for free at the expense of, of BDO and everybody else doing it wrong beforehand, even RO1 doing it wrong beforehand. That's the beauty of like starting RO3 now. Like if you don't learn from those mistakes now, like when are you going to? When the game's already out? I don't think
Yeah.
that's
My
a
When the game's
my
already dead.
my question is this: how do you translate that though? Because in BDO, like let's say, you know, you get like a free piece of Fallen God armor, right? Fallen God armor is what everyone is going to have regardless of class. And then you upgrade it to like Pride Duo. You basically like +1, +2, +3, +4, or +5 it to make it in like Ragnarok refining terms, right? But everyone has the same gear. Like whatever character Fatty plays in BDO, the four armors that he's wearing are the same exact four armors that I'm wearing, regardless of class, right? And they're +1, +2, +3, +4, +5. How do you translate that kind of gear aid progression system on a game like Row One, if we're
it's
going
easy.
for that,
Yeah, that'd be
where
pretty
like,
easy. You already
like
have it in R1 technically. You have the Eden group. Scale Eden group gear.
okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Like you know how like in BDO, for example, Tuvala, what do you turn Tuvala into? You turn it into, you could turn it into Black Star, you could turn it into a boss gear. Make it so Eden gear in RL1 can be turned into like, let's say like a Diabolos like gear or something, right? Depending on somebody's class, or give players the choice and guide them along. This class has this piece of armor has these stats, and these stats work on these skills of these like classes, right? And they can see, oh, I can see your classes are RK. These are like this is where these stats work on your RK, and it shows you like an actual info, like, oh, yeah, there you go. And then all of a sudden, oh wow, well, I use that skill all the time. Oh wow, yeah, yeah. My guildie said told me that this skill, it works really well, and that's like from a systematic standpoint, right? So it's really easy to scale because the the system's already there. You just have to translate it.
And
You just have to transfer it over to RO3 in a more modernized fashion, so that you don't have to deal with like a shitty like quest window essentially, like how it was in RO1, right? And so you scale it that way, and besides that, you also have, that's the whole reason why I value the community aspect of RO so much, is because even without those guides, if you were part of a community, if you join a community in an MMORPG and then you talk to these guys, right, and people that are playing the game, they can tell you, oh, by the way, yeah, oh, you're a high wizard, right? Yeah, yeah, no, you have to wear Chronos, bro. Like the shield, the one handed is not worth it. We've tested it already, right? That's the social aspect of the game. If
yeah,
even if the game didn't have any systematically like guiding things in it, which it should and it will, right? Then you still have that to fall back on, regardless if like there's nobody out there that's like making content. I guarantee right now, if you go into R1, you look for a newbie friendly guild, and I guarantee you there's like one motherly fatherly figure in there that's gonna teach you and show you the ropes
yeah,
and give you item and everything. Like it
yeah.
exists in every game.
That's a fact. And would you recommend something like, because I think that's a really good idea. Like that's the answer I wanted to how you would bridge it. So like let's say um it was going to give you catch up gear that was like specific gear for specific builds in row. If it had, how would you do it? Like if it had let's say, you know, you're a swordsman class and it would say, this is a strength build that's for this kind of skill usage, like you were saying, or this build, and then you have to
Yeah,
pick one.
yeah.
That
You
way they
just
kind of are forced to go down a path. And if they want to change later on, they can just grind gear for another build, but at least they
yeah,
have one
exactly.
that's
Yeah, but they're set up
yeah.
already. Yeah, so you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
I think that would be
Yeah,
solid.
yeah. I guess again, the system already exists in the game. It just needs to be modernized so it's simpler and it looks nicer, for RO3 because it's a modern game. Whereas like like you look at like the quest windows in RO1, it looks like you're in an MIRC channel, right? Like it looks very like dated. So again, there's way more things that they can work with in the current engine of RO3 versus like the R1 engine, where like if you look at it in a way, the automatic guidance system that they had was basically just like looks like something like an HTML thing, just like an arrow fucking pulsating on the ground with like with like primary color blue on it. But they can modernize that on an RO3 setting. Like again, that's why it's going to be really hard for me to understand how they could fuck this up when there's so many examples out there already of how you can do this right, especially on essentially what is a game that hasn't even launched, is currently in alpha, mind you, with multiple builds already. So it's really
Yeah.
easy not to fuck this up. So that's why like I'm kind of scared by this statement, because I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, RO3 does not know what RO3 wants to be.
It feels like that when you play it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the healing is weird. Like you have unlimited mana all the time, and then the cooldown on the reses and the way the skills work. It feels like they tried to be World of Warcraft, but they're not. And that's what I was gonna ask you guys. Like, would you rather the new card system or the old card system if you had to have one? And if most people agree on the old original card system, do you think they're too far into it already to go back and say, you know what, maybe this is what everybody wants. We should implement the old card system, or since they've
Well,
already spent so many resources, they're gonna kind of like lock into what they've already built.
not really, because like when
100%
when you
old card
when you
system.
think about like the if is have they gone too far to revert over to the old card system? Like not really, because the the balancing and and the framework is already there in RO1. It's basically just transferring it over to this new engine now, right? And then working with that balancing. Like sure, they'll have to tweak some certain stuff, because like there might be weird kind of like interactions with wizards being able to crit now and everything, so you might have to balance around that, but that's not something that's like too hard to do. Like you symptoms of those problems will show themselves very quickly when people are still discovering stuff, right? So the balancing for that isn't even going to be that egregious. Sure, like maybe warlocks will be very very OP in like a week or two, but if you're paying attention to your game, you're paying attention to the metrics, you'll very quickly see like, oh wait, this is actually I can see like if everybody has endgame gear and it scales to this, mitigation it scales to this build for warlocks is still gonna do a lot of damage. Let's tone it down.
Yeah.
Right? It would have been harder if you were to start from scratch, but you don't have to. The framework's already there. The math's already done. It's just it's just you just have to tweak it now. Like, do you have to scale down the percentage on the card a little bit? You can
Yeah.
see that within a month, within a few weeks. If a month, if it's like slightly above, same way that you'd see League of Legends like tweak like 5 AP on a champion, or you could see that if it's like incredibly OP, you'd see that in a span of a week. It's like you say, oh wow, Warlocks are just gapping everybody. Yeah, no, there's something wrong with that.
Honestly, if you're balancing a game, that means that your game's just really that good. Like
Yeah.
if you balance this, you basically change the meta and change the build of everyone or something like that. So you know,
Yeah. Maybe I want to add something for the seasons one.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the recommended build on the alpha test?
Mm,
For me personally, I don't like the limitation that they give for the recommendation, but I know why they put it there for the new player for them to be easier to understand the build, but it's very limiting for us that want to min max the stuff that you get like 10% more damage and 10% more damage mitigation, I think,
Yeah.
for RG.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think the seasonal thing that they put it here will will affect that. So maybe the recommended build for next season is this. The maybe for RG like Holy Cross Grand Cross build,
Yeah.
and the next season is this. Uh, I don't think they know what that will do to that to the game.
Yeah, exactly. They talk about BD a lot, like build diversity a lot, but I think the whole thing about build diversity, but when you're essentially pigeonholing the whole player base into specific
It's
builds,
just
because
change.
these are the only builds that would work with this
Yeah.
season's like resonance and your remnant echoes, because again, you look at the passives right now in remnant echoes right now, they're OP as shit.
Yep.
Like there's no way that if you're, especially if you want to have your character perform to the best, there's no way that you actually like veer away from that, like, because why would you give
Mhm.
yourself by 600% less damage, right,
Yes.
when everybody's doing like twice, three times as much as damage as you, because they're following the trend, they're following what the essentially what the
Yeah.
season is telling them how to build. Then what is build diversity, right? Then what is RO being a sandbox game now?
Mhm.
Yeah, the
For me, what
auto
I
build
can,
is bad.
yeah, for me, what I can like suggest to them that you see like Dota. Dota is there for like maybe 20 years already, 25 years. Dota from Dota 1 to Dota 2.
Mhm.
And that game is still like popular. And they only change a little bit at a time. You you know Dazzle, right? Dazzle is a support hero.
Yeah, yeah.
They change it like over time. Dazzle is becoming core hero. They only
Back to
change like
support again.
tweak. No. Yeah. So you can make Dazzle as a support and Dazzle as a core. And both build is a viable build. And maybe that will change like next month or next 2 months back to the support type. And that's the way I like Dota updates.
Yeah. So I
It
think
changes the game.
the thing
Or
with Dota is that like Dota knows what Dota knows, why Dota works, right? Like
Yes.
it's kind of like the same way that like I feel that RO3 should know why RO1 worked,
Yes.
and by
And maybe if
compounding.
they want to add the season for RO, maybe just tweak a little bit of this, tweak a little of that, and let
but
the player base decide what they want to do with it.
but right now, Dota is not very friendly to new users since it's
Hey,
really
facets.
complicated. It's really complicated right now. If you're a new
Yes.
Yeah.
player trying to play Dota, you'll
Not really though.
be stuck.
There's an MMR system place, right? So you will be
Yeah, there is,
placed
but
in
but
But
in
there,
that's
comparison
right?
to
not.
Dota 1, there's no
But
facets in Dota
that's
1. The map is really different.
Yeah.
The ward
Yeah.
placement, Roshan does not move from place 1 to place
the
2.
problem is
So
though is
Yeah.
that none of that
for
matters because
mentors,
it's not just exclusive to Dota. It's exclusive to
Yep.
MOBAs. But the thing is, Dota.
yeah,
The,
but
the, the point. The
what
point is that Dota knows what makes Dota work, and that we're correlating that to RO3 needs to know why RO1 worked, because essentially, if you think about like how it evolved, right? So basically, Dota 2 just kind of modernized and improved upon what already worked with Dota, which was how it was as a
Yep.
MOBA. Which is why I'm saying right now is that RO3 needs to understand why RO1 worked as a
Yes.
vertical progression MMORPG. But if
And they
RO3
make
is yeah,
their own game, right?
if RO3 is trying to veer away from what made it work into something that's like over here, now it's just a different game with a reskin of RO1, right? It's just a reskin
Mm-hmm.
at this point, right? Like, okay, it's just a reskin of Genshin. It's just a reskin of Sword of Justice, right? Like, there's all these certain versus like, okay, this is actually a modernized RO1, which adapts everything that made R1 work and then improved upon it and modernized everything and added like quality of life stuff, like better questing systems, better tutorials, better scaling system for people that are coming into a vertical progression game,
Yeah.
aka like the Eden group and everything, right? And you adapt, you bring something that you know works already. Like people know why RO1 worked, and the only reason why it's like as like not as good as old school RuneScape, by the way, like that, which graphical fidelity, like not even like art style wise, but like in terms of like graphical fidelity is way worse than RO1, is working really well because again, number one, like the main reason is old school RuneScape knows why old school RuneScape worked, right? And when they veered away from that, it wasn't as successful, right? And I think that's like the pitfall that RO3 is kind of facing right now, is that RO3 is forgetting, number one, what they advertise the game as. When you, because here's the thing, you could think whatever you want, but once you advertise the game RO1, RO as it was meant to be, and then the intro of your trailer is RO1, like the game, and then transition over to RO3, people are gonna expect RO1 into this game because that's how you marketed it. It's not even like you're alluding to it. You legit had RO1 in your trailer, right? So it's not even like, oh, but you don't know what they want it to actually be, right? It's like yes, I do, because they showed the game RO1 in the trailer. So that's what they were telling me. That's what they marketed to me. And so that's what I'm expecting.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're going too far.
Yeah.
We want, like somebody said, like Row remastered with some new monsters, some new cards, nice new graphics. It's like we're playing the future Row one, or like what someone would call like WoW Plus or Row Plus, not reinventing the wheel. And that's kind of
Yeah.
Because it's just thing.
where it's
It's
going.
like everybody has been for the very longest time, and this is why I'm jealous of WoW players, by the way. Um, for the longest time, all we've wanted was a true successor to RO1,
Of R1. Yeah.
and I hoped that Gravity would learn from Blizzard's like ignorance for so long, where for the longest time people were asking for a classic WoW, and Blizzard was just like not hearing it, right? They're not hearing their players. It took a random ass like group of people to make a private classic WoW server and be wildly successful before before Blizzard was like, "Oh fuck. Yeah, no, they
Then we
really
can do
want
it.
this, huh?" Like, you know what I mean? And then they made it, and guess what? Classic
Yeah.
WoW was incredibly successful.
And didn't Row try to, because like my timeline, I played all these games. So my timeline, the true kings that really first did it was RuneScape, where they released RuneScape 2007 and gave people the same old game they loved. And then WoW did like the classic, gave people the same 2004 game that they fell in love with. But didn't Row have like a Row restart thing going on or something, that it
Oh,
was like
a lot.
supposed
A
to
lot
be?
We
of.
had like 70 mobile games, yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Like the
like just
closest
do
one,
the thing.
the
Just give us
closest
row one with WoW graphics, and everyone will be happy as hell.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
just,
can end the free to play and pay to win wars that's happening in Row. The way that RO1 works, you can you have your own world to live. You can have a PvP, you can have like PvE, right?
Mhm.
If you just free to play, you play what you want. You want to stay at level 1, you just want to chat with your friend. It's up to you, right? But in RO, the way that the game breaks, in my opinion, they don't have that PvE content. They only have the PvP content. When you have the PvP content, you will meet, as a free to play, you will meet the whale, and you will you will have that envy that why does he have that all that stats I cannot get, right? So the RO fails because they don't have the PvE content. The PvE content is only like 5 MVP each day, and the dungeon
Yeah.
like reset every weeks.
Then you have to rely.
And
You have to rely
that
on
also
whales
the
to do.
dungeon.
I,
Yep.
I agree with that. MVPing in row one was amazing. It was awesome. And you wanted to just run around and kill bosses in the game all day. And you were hunting the cards you wanted, and it was amazing. Like you didn't even have to do any PvP stuff, and you could really enjoy the game for endless hours.
Like here,
Yeah.
I'll here humor me on this one, guys. All right, um, let's go to Twitch, right? Let's go to Twitch right now, and let's go to the RO1 category. Let's go to Ragnarok 1. Oh, just Ragnarok Online. Sorry, Ragnarok Online. Let's go to Ragnarok Online right now.
One.
Yeah, Ragnarok Online. So Ragnarok Online right now, a game this old currently, along with like let's ignore the viewers in like all the other categories. Ragnarok Online, the base game has 881 followers and 364k followers on Twitch, which isn't even the most viewership that RO gets. It's mostly on either Facebook or YouTube, right?
Mhm.
So the fact that like Twitch has this viewership still, can you imagine? You can't tell me that these people that are playing this right now are not gonna play
The-
RO3 if it's true to RO1 as a successor.
Yep.
So it boggles my mind how Ragnarok 3 just doesn't quite get the potential player base that they could possibly have if they
Mhm.
if they took this market by like and have it on a like by the like on a chokehold basically.
Yep.
And corner this
Absolutely.
whole market. Like what? Why not?
And
Because in terms of money,
Is
there
it
you
like,
go, right?
yeah, and on that point, if they took row one and like you said, gave it like WoW graphics and made it free to play, but had the same pay to win mechanics, do you guys think there'd be anyone playing row one private servers anymore? All the private, like overnight, the private servers would turn into ghost towns, and absolutely everybody would be playing row three. Everybody.
Hmm.
Because they'd be like, wow, there's no private server for row three, and it's the best graphics, and I can play it right now and start my archer, start my, my row journey
Mhm.
in like this modernized thing.
It doesn't
It's
even have to
crazy.
be like WoW graphic. It could be the current graphics that they have now. I'll be
Yeah, the
honest with you.
graphics now.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
here's the thing. Here's the thing too. It's like, how is it that after the disaster that was RO2, Gravity or whoever's in charge still hasn't learned that the moment that you veer away from what makes RO successful, you end up with a disastrous game. Like, was RO2 not enough of a lesson to learn that like, hey,
Yeah.
we don't want all that other shit. We want RO1. Like the
Facts.
the
And
player base has been begging for years, decades even, for them to finally, hey, just give us RO1 with modernized graphics, like better QoL stuff, so you're not using HTML on like HTML like basically like Friendster testimony type like quest quest boxes and everything. It's just like just give us a modernized RO with RO3 and I guarantee you the same player base that enjoyed RO1 that still is enjoying RO1. You can't fake interest.
You bring them all back.
Yeah, you can't fake interest. The fact of the matter is people are still interested in RO1 and they still are and they're still begging for it because we never got it.
Mhm.
And
Just bring back the sandbox in Sandbox MMO.
yeah, exactly. And that's the problem. It's like you're building all these other things except for you're building everything else. You're building a a, a WoW-ish type with RO2. You're building a Guild Wars 2-ish type with RO3. You're building like mobile games upon mobile games upon mobile games, but like you're building everything but what we're asking for. Like what is going on?
Mhm.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you can
I,
imagine, Fatty, ROO, but have the PVE content,
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
right?
I have a quick question for you guys.
Uh,
Well, it's two questions. One, is it weird for you, or do you agree with us coming into this with like renewal classes for the Pioneer test? Because that was really weird for me, and I wish that wasn't the experience. And I can't wait for a beta to start from scratch with all the classes. And the other question is the actual play style, because I was behind on gaining access to the Pioneer test, so I haven't touched any other class, nor will I, because I want to keep getting geared and be viable and learn to play the Archbishop for the Guild Wars and stuff. But for right now, for me, I would much rather play a priest in row one than a priest in row three, as far as how
Yeah.
it feels to play the game 100%. And if that remains the case for like some of the other classes, that's something that they should look into changing or optimizing, making it like the actual, that's a big part of the game. Row one was iconic because it felt so good. Like the high attack speed felt good, how the numbers bounce off of monsters felt good. You really enjoyed grinding. Like right now, from a healer perspective, I would much rather play a healer in row one than in this current version of row three. Do you guys feel the same about those two things, or do
Um,
you like this version?
Not well, it's kind. I'm kind of like indifferent to it because it's again, it's an alpha test, right? They wanted to alpha test this part of the game, this specific type of content, these specific type of classes. Because again, if I was in their shoes and I've already tested the second jobs, the transcendent jobs, then you know why would I host a playtest for it when all that stuff is already done? Because like what this is telling me is because they're having us test this part of the game already means that they are this far along in development, and not just in development but also in testing, that
Mm.
it wouldn't make sense for them to have us test like the stuff that they already have like try, because like the next step for those things is essentially stress test when they're going for like the beta tests eventually, and with they're gonna be stress testing the servers instead. You know what I mean? And not only that, but also
Mm.
it would make sense for them to show this content instead, so that the base experience of the game, at least going into the beta, is going to be a lot more fresh to the player
Yeah.
base. Yeah, like they just I
Maybe
get not
Mm.
wanting to show your cards too soon.
yeah. Maybe if I can add to what Hercules is trying to say is,
Mhm.
um, we doesn't feel like RO as RO1, that that the feeling that we find something new or
Mhm.
we get something new. It's it feels like playing the RO3 is, it feels like a chore. You have to do to get this. You have to get this. You
Mhm.
have to do this. You have to MVP
Yeah.
and you have to GL.
Yeah.
It feels like a chore. That's what drive a lot of people from the, like Rommel, the
Mm.
Yeah.
RO.
Yeah. But and
A lot of
that's
people feels the game as a chore. You have to
yeah.
grind at 6
And
a.m.
and that's why
Yeah.
like I always say like that dailies are the bane of player retention.
Mm.
Like you
Yeah.
force people to do this and this and this every single day. The moment that they take a break from the game for even like a day or a week, they're gonna be like, "Why the fuck would I want to go back to that?"
Mm.
Right?
Even
Yeah.
as alpha, the
Like
game
for
feels like a chore to me.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, because you're supposed to do this, and I get it, right? Because it's supposed to be
Yes.
it's supposed to be like for
5
testing,
minutes.
right? But
Yes.
and it makes again it makes sense that they're doing it, but like I hope that they get rid of the dailies and everything. I know they're listening to us as well, and they are planning on taking that out. Hopefully they do, because like unless you want your game to die in like 6 months or so, you take out the dailies. Because like as a
Yeah.
guild leader, I lead guilds like every fucking game, right? For some fucking reason, because I'm a masochist.
Mhm.
Um
You just love it, you know, don't you?
and
Just love hurting
yeah.
yourself.
So the chief reason why people quit, including the most recent, which was TNL, is because they just don't want to do the dailies anymore. Like the first line that you always hear from somebody who quits the game is like, I feel free,
Mm.
I don't have to do dailies anymore. I woke up today
Mm.
Yep.
not feeling the urge to do dailies.
Mhm.
It's like
Yeah.
if you take that into like a game like BDO, I wake up in BDO and it's like, do I want to grind today? Yeah, I'll AFK fish, right? I gotta do some stuff, right? It doesn't matter to me because like if I don't grind right now, it's not like how dailies are where it's like, oh, if you don't do this set of dailies today, you're behind this set of dailies forever.
Yep.
Right.
If you start 2 months into the game, you're behind 2 months worth of dailies forever. You know what I mean? Like in that's
In
assuming that the
RO,
game doesn't have weeklies. So now
yeah,
you're behind dailies and weeklies, right? Again, it's the bane of player retention. It should just not exist in a game that wants longevity.
And
mhm,
I think a quick point on that. I think that WoW, like, not even an argument. Most people say that WoW perfected their game in the Burning Crusade and continued it in Wrath of the Lich King. If you look at the statistics, everything went downhill after that. The dailies that they
Savings going
added in
in 3
TBC were
minutes.
freaking awesome because what they did was you could do these couple quests that were kill quests. They give you a random mob, go kill this stuff, whatever, and then they reward you with gold. So they could give you a good amount of zenny pretty quickly. So there's like a daily zenny that the people that are doing the dailies could make that's makes it really viable for them to do those. And the other thing that it did is it gave you tokens or something like that that you could use to unlock like cosmetic, nice looking mounts or whatever, but you could not do it for 3 days and you would have 3 less
yep,
tokens, but eventually you would get it, you know? If you get 1 token a day and it requires, there's 5 quests, you can get like 5 a day and it requires 300 tokens or whatever. If you don't do it right now, it's something you could work toward in the future if you want to. But there's
yep,
another mount that flies just as fast and that does the same thing. So if they added dailies that were like a long time that you had to do them for cosmetic items, I think that'd be a good way to do it. Just give people a couple, a good amount of zenny and some cosmetic items.
Yeah.
And then that way, if you don't do dailies, it doesn't matter. But if you want to look really cool, then you want to do dailies. And then they could introduce the seasonal aspect as well, where it's like, oh, Halloween daily. So if you do your daily for like 20 out of the 30 days, then you can get this cool Halloween headgear. And if you do it for like 18 and it ends, then those points carry over for the next Halloween season. And then, you can do a couple of those and get the next Halloween item. But if it was cosmetic, I think it would be a good
I
good
think
route to go with that.
well, I
Yeah,
think like the way
I
that
agree.
RO works, like I don't think dailies have a I don't think dailies really should be something that's like
impactful.
ultimately impactful in RO,
Yep.
right? Like
Yeah,
sure,
in
sure, sure,
RO1 it
sure,
was always
yeah, sure. You could have like you could have kill quests like maybe, right, and
Mhm.
just have it be
And
like any
it
Kasi
mob
medyo
gets
ano,
stacked up.
because it's something that I'm gonna do anyway. And
Mhm.
again, BDO does this really well, where they essentially what they do is pretty simple, right? Like BDO is basically like some people are like, yeah, well, I don't really want to grind anymore because for silver, I don't care. And then you have people like, well, I'm gonna grind because I want the Orzeka armor, right? Like
Mhm.
they want this like piece of like item that gives them is essentially it's just aesthetic. It's just a costume. Gives no stats,
yeah.
right? Like it doesn't make you any stronger. But because these are these so-called like treasure items that people actually want to get, because number one, they're not being pressured into thinking like, oh, if you don't do this, you're falling behind, right? You know what I mean? So they're
Mm.
doing it because like, wow, that looks cool.
It looks
So the
cool.
yeah.
value, you're not FOMOing somebody, right? Because if you
Mhm.
keep FOMOing somebody, at some point they're gonna just be like, "What the fuck am I doing this for?" Or it's like, "Oh, by the way, this right here doesn't really matter for combat, but man, it looks cool, huh?" Like, right? Like,
Yeah.
like it would be
Yeah,
really neat. Like, or if like a map, like the map, for example, or in BDO that lets you like teleport and shit like that. It's like it's not required. It's not even you're not falling behind because you don't have it, but
Mhm.
it's neat.
Mm.
You can
Like,
walk like a
yeah.
Well,
pro.
that's some of the
Yeah,
Y-
things that
similar
I
to
used to
ano.
love is like the item quests where you could go and you could farm a bunch of items and get a cool headgear, or the GM events that
Yeah,
allowed you to get GM tickets or something to buy from like a vending machine that you could only use that currency in. Being an old school RO player, that was always what kept me engaged and brought me back. I was always
yeah.
loving to go to those events and stuff. But
Even
for
at
like
Rommel, you can stack up, right? If you don't play like 3 days, you can stack up the combat time, I think.
Yeah, but then that's 3 days
yeah,
worth of stuff that have to do. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Cosmetic daily seemed like the move. And another one that would be good was like what I suggested is like a VIP thing or like let's say like instead of going and then having to fly wing through the levels of dungeons, you could just, you know, be a VIP or whatever to teleport to 1 or 2 levels deeper in the dungeon. If by completing dailies you got free teleport tickets, that would be something that you could do them, and it would be awesome to
Yep.
just go kill some monsters and be able to go to the level of the dungeon you want,
Mm-hmm.
or you could not do them and just fly wing around until you get, close to the portal and try to get there. So you give
Right.
people the option. It doesn't feel like you have to do this thing.
But with the healer class, you used to have the warp portal and the teleport. So
Yep.
like when they
Yeah.
brought the actual like being able to teleport to dungeons and stuff, kind of made that skill obsolete. Where like you could warp portal, save this location at the bottom of a dungeon where the MVP is, warp your whole team in and stuff like that. And then they brought the
Mm-hmm.
portal in where you could teleport to every level of the dungeon except the MVP dungeon. You know.
Yeah, but
Any warp service?
I was a big fan of how it worked with priests before, how you limit save locations. So one
Yep.
priest can only save, like, let's say 1 or 2 locations or whatever. And I don't know if that would get too overpowered, but that could also be a way to like
Couple extra
pay to,
portal slots.
yeah, or you could,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, exactly, pay to win it. Instead of saving 2 locations, you could save 4 or 3, maybe just one more location. And then people would be down for that, but it wouldn't be game breaking either. And it would still make you want to have the daily ticket or something to be able to go to whatever dungeon you want, not just this one dungeon that this one priest in your guild has saved. And they would also give support characters footing within guilds because it's like, all right, we got this one priest that can teleport here, we got the other priest that can teleport there. So I think that'd be good too.
Yeah. Only thing is like I think you automatically lose a certain amount a good chunk of like the player base just based off of principle alone. If you're going to because in again
Limit.
in video it's like nader parchment like you can put your fail stacks in there that's like not related to your skills but imagine if like if you implemented something like that to a skill as as niche as as it is, right? Like even if it doesn't have like real combat power, like all of a sudden people are like, oh, what are we starting? Like what is the slippery slope
Yeah,
we're on right now? You know what I mean? Like what is this gateway drug that we're at, right? You know what I mean?
yeah,
um
but I think Nader's a perfect example because like I have all my Nader slots, I just bought them all on BDO, right? So where when I want to enhance, I just sit on my main character and I put all my fail stacks there. I have like pages of it and I just enhance on my main character. Other people have other characters that they save fail stacks on and then they back and forth to enhance. All it's doing is saving me a little bit of time and like taking away the discomfort of having to swap to another character. The same thing with like an extra teleport slot. All it's really doing you is saving you a little bit of time that you could just like, fly wing to that part of the dungeon. The argument would be, and it's a valid argument, that if I had that third slot to go to this specific map and you were fly winging to get to that MVP and I teleported and got there first and got the MVP kill, that would suck a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's just like luck, timing, and convenience to shrink a little bit of the time because you could still fly wing there, like everyone else does it.
Only problem is like now people are saying like, oh, if you don't have this, by the way, you're not really a competitive MVPer. And now you're gonna have like people saying like, oh yeah, it's like, oh, looking for priest for Edgar. Do you have this on your skill? No. All right, never mind. We'll find somebody else.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a factor. But if you limit it to like 2 or 3 teleports, it's like looking for, MVP for Edgar. They're gonna be looking for a priest that has that teleport saved. And that priest may not be in your guild, and that priest may not want to help you. They may want to use that teleport for their guild and getting their guys there to kill that MVP instead of like someone random on the outside. So I think if they let you get like 20 of them, then yeah, that would really suck. But as long as it was like one extra slot or something like that, I don't think it would be like
Yeah.
super
I
horrible.
think it's just uh I think it's just like the concept getting out there of like if somebody's trying to check out your game, oh by the way, oh you're a support, right? You should definitely get this from the item shop in order to enhance your skill. I was like, wait, what? Like if I don't, if it, what, so I mean, what do you mean if I don't get it? I'm just like a lesser, like I feel like a lesser priest, right? Like you have to also take into account like how somebody's gonna feel about something like that, where it's like I'm not even a complete class because I, you know what I mean? I didn't spend money
Yeah,
to upgrade this skill. You know what I mean? Like
that's a fact.
it's just the thought that people would have towards that, where it's like I don't want to play this
Yeah,
game. Like you know what I mean?
that's definitely viable, and everyone else would go, "What the hell? Priest get a skill upgrade off,
Yeah. What
the
about
cash
me,
shop.
bro?
Where's
Yeah.
mine? Where's
Yeah.
my classes upskill?" But I always like circle back to, and I don't know that they've put anything out, but it would be really, really freaking awesome if they at least put out some ideas for us to marinate and give feedback on as to how it is that they intend to
Yep.
financially support this game so that we would know kind of what
Oh
we're
yeah.
talking
I
about
mean,
because
definitely selling cash shop stuff in the market. 100%.
yeah, but it's like what is that going to be? Because these are the things we're talking about, and we're either
Well,
like
that's
no, that's a horrible idea, or this is kind of acceptable. Like it'd be awesome if
oh
they
yeah,
started putting some of that out.
we can talk about like what we think is viable or not, but just have zero idea of what they actually plan in the long run,
Yeah,
right? Like we could just say like, oh, that one's a slippery slope. We shouldn't get to that level of pay to win. You don't want to approach that because then like this opens up like complaints in this like in this regard in this department. So that's why like that's why I didn't want to tackle the pay to win the cash shop stuff is because like we just have no idea. Like we're just basically gonna sit here and discuss hypotheticals, and
yeah,
that there's no end
exactly.
to that conversation, right?
Yeah, and that's something that they should be looking at right now and start coming up with something
I'm sure they
to
have.
check us
Yeah,
with, because if they don't feed us that a little bit now, what's going to suck is if we think we have this illusion that it's not going to be a certain way, and then we get there, the game launches, and it ends up being that certain way, and then everyone's like, all right, F this game, and they lost everybody because they didn't get feedback on that aspect of the game, which
I'm
in all the
sure.
conversations
I'm sure
seems to
they
be important.
will. I'm sure they will eventually, just because it's been approached by like
Mhm.
in the AMAs already. So at some point in
Yeah.
time when that gets finalized on their end, I'm pretty sure they haven't quite decided yet, but I'm pretty sure they already have some idea of what they want to do because like I'm pretty sure the pitch for RO3 started off with how are we gonna monetize this. So they you know what I mean like that. Like if you're gonna
Smart.
pitch like hey, by the way, I need 100 million USD so we can develop this game right now. I was like, all right, how am I gonna get my ROI? How are you gonna monetize this? 100% that was
That
part of the
that
conversation.
That's a legit take. I like that you said that because that needs to be said out loud. That's how it started. It's like, all right, we're gonna make a game. How are we gonna make a lot of money off of this game? That was
Yeah,
probably the start.
yeah. So like, and there could be pushbacks on like again, uh, I put a little bit of stock into how a company like to some degree values their reputation, and gravity at some hasn't been valuing it quite a lot, but then you get to a point where it's like, all right, so when's the last straw? Because if you're NCSoft, you have like all these other games that you could push, right? It's like if TNL so okay, TNL might not be the biggest success, right? Like you might have like fallen short after they messed up on on releasing content that nobody wants. Sure, but then they have Aeon 2, right? They could essentially release another lineage. What has Gravity been doing? Gravity's been releasing Ragnarok after Ragnarok after Ragnarok after Ragnarok. What happens when Ragnarok is no longer viable as a quick cash grab? Like I'm pretty sure like as a company you have to think about these things. Because like then if you don't and you're just resolved to being like, all right, let's just make another cash grab, you know for a fact that the company is going to be a sinking ship.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the only reason why I put a tiny bit of stock in like in terms of like reputation, in terms of like how they're gonna approach RO3. So if they're not gonna approach it in a good way monetization wise from a standpoint of morality, they're just morally they just don't want to make another cash grab game anymore. It's not that. There's no it's that. It's out of necessity is the only way that we can have Gravity make a good game that's not a cash grab game
Yeah.
that is actually good that we can actually play. for a very long time. It's not out of morality, it's out of necessity.
And that's the hard balance there too, is
Yeah.
like, do you
Right
make
now,
a
the
game that
face.
your veteran
Mhm.
players are gonna love and come back
Well,
to, or do you
it's
want to
not
make
so
a game that's gonna
much
make money?
it's not so much that, right? Because like from a company's perspective, they're definitely not considering us when they first pitched this, right? But it's more like you're asking yourself as a company, like, do we want something with actual longevity for the long run? In the same breath that BDO created BDO PC separately from everybody else so they could make this game just for PC, and in the meantime they released BDO Mobile with a mobile name on it, Black Desert Online Mobile, right, or Black Desert Mobile, and people know the moment that that thing has mobile on there, it's gonna be pay to win, and people ate that shit up, and it made them billions of dollars off of that one game, right? And then you also have like, oh, console BDO, right? Okay, they separated console BDO from PC BDO so console can get their own shit. Whereas like, let's say for example, like your TNL decided to mix and match like console versus like PC, and console's having a horrible time because we're whooping their ass like every damn night, right? Um, but yeah, that's the genius of Black Desert and Pearl Abyss, is that they knew how to separate their game, and guess what? It's like, because a PC game, their PC game, PC BDO is catered and designed for PC players, so you basically corner that market already. You're always gonna have BDO, regardless if BDO mobile fails, because like, unlike RO3, if RO3 decides to like, I want to capture the mobile and the PC market, yeah, tough fucking shit. You're gonna lose like one of those player bases anyway,
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
Like you cannot make everybody happy. Like you cannot cater a game for PC and mobile and be like, hey, I'm gonna have like a perfect balance. I'm gonna have close to a perfect balance between making these two motherfuckers happy. You're never gonna be able to do that.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. They should split it for a mobile version versus
Yeah,
a
if you
PC
want to
version.
create, again, if you want to create RO3, you want something with longevity. If a new IP like Black Desert can do it, there's no shot that a beloved IP like RO cannot do it. There's just no shot. There's no way. Because
I
RO
agree. And I
because RO still does something that other MMOs can't do. The way that RO works in the play style, in the view that you have, in the way that you operate your character in RO, you don't really do that in other games. The only other games that have like large scale games like that are 3D games like Thorn and Liberty, for example, right, or World vs. World in Guild Wars, but none of those guys play the same as RO.
yeah,
So RO does offer something as an IP that they know everybody already loves, right? And is already a working formula. And so why don't they just capitalize on that? Sure, if you want to make like another like Ragnarok like mobile game, fuck it, make it. Make it again. Keep cash grabbing the people who want auto. Keep cash grabbing the people that want the pay to win, just like BDO Mobile did. In the meantime, you have a consistent like game in BDO PC or Ragnarok 3 PC that's catered to PC, and that's working wonders for you. If they want a mobile version of Ragnarok 3, make them a mobile version. Fuck it. Monetize the motherfuckers.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
And BDO's the perfect comparison because when I drop videos where I compare BDO and World of Warcraft and other MMOs that I've played, like Ragnarok Online or OSRS, the number one thing that all BDO players in the comments always say is that there is no other MMORPG that gives them the same feeling that that game gives them, because it's an action RPG and that
Mhm.
combat system is unique to only that game on the market right now. And I think that they need to capitalize on, like what Fatty's saying, that Ragnarok Online, like the first original row, is very unique in that way, and it can carve and already has the community to have its own space as the only game with a card system like this and that plays and is like this game. It's not like another WoW clone or anything else like that. It's its own game that doesn't really have a competitor. So if they should do that. Like they shouldn't mix it and try to reinvent the wheel. Like they think they're eating. Like they think they're really going to eat off of this, but they're not. They
Yeah.
need to either make it a real MMO and get rid of anything that makes it closely resemble a mobile game, or just full send it and make it a mobile game for PC.
Yeah. Like you got to make a choice. Like I get it, right? Like you want to be able to capture both like player bases. You want to be able to capture like both. But you're not. It's like
Yeah.
if you make this into like a PC mobile game, it's gonna have limitations towards PC that PC players are not gonna like. And I guarantee you, before this game even starts, there are people that are PC players that would have already written it off and are not even gonna try the game.
Yeah.
And like, and for me too, like the fact that if I'm playing a PC game, let's say like from even if, let's say from like a streamer's perspective too, right? Like if I'm playing this game, if I'm playing this game right now and like most of the stuff that I'm doing is auto because I'm done with my dailies in like an hour, it's like there's no entertainment value, right? The one thing
Yeah.
that BDO does, and frankly, in when you think about it, right? Like BDO, most of the content that you do in BDO, unless you get like extra creative with it or extra special with it, or you plan it out like differently, is basically grinding. You're either grinding mobs or grinding life skills, right? Or you're PvP, you're being a BA rat or something like that, right? But like for the most part, you're actually doing something, you're actively doing something, so you're not there like staring at your screen like that. And there's entertainment value, and that's the whole thing. If there's entertainment value in a sport, in a game, in an esport, people are more likely to watch that stuff. But like it's just as a content creator, it's like what am I gonna do, bro? Like okay, I watched this guy like do auto the whole time.
Yeah. And like the only reason, and I know a lot of people feel like this, like the only reason I'm playing this game is because it's Row and I love Row. But if this were any other game, it is 100% going to deter the new player audience. Like if you got me to play a game called, just because I'm looking at something on my desk, Stream Deck, right? Like Stream Deck online or whatever. The second that I saw that gear wheel that says manual and I know it has an auto mode, even if my buddy was like, "You should try this game, it's great," I'm like, "I'm not playing that shit. I'm not. You're crazy. I'm not even downloading it." You know. But because it's Row, I'm giving it a chance and hoping
Yep.
that everything works out. Like we're running off hopes, dreams, and prayers right now on fumes, you know. But
And that's
I
the
think
beauty
that they
of it.
should think about that too.
Hoping.
Like
Yeah, and that
new players
yeah,
aren't jumping on
yeah,
if it
and
has that.
that's the beauty. That's the beauty of the ROIP, and why it's such a sin that they don't capitalize on it by making an actual respectable PC game. Is the fact that like at any given time, until in the inevitable time that they lose the players like faith, is that they always have the pull. At the very least, people will give it a try. Even people who have lost complete faith in it will probably play it for like a
Yep.
week, right? But if you actually make a true to RO1 PC game and they try it and they're like, "Whoa, this is this is basically like, like RO1 evolved 20 years later." Like, "Oh
Yeah.
shit. Oh, it's not mobile slop. Oh fuck. Oh damn. Like oh wow. Like oh what? Yeah yeah. I remember doing this before. I'm grinding. I'm grinding now, but now I actually have like a good like quest like a quest system that actually have like good quality of life stuff, right? And it's just like there's more things to do. It's like everything that I do is more meaningful because there's more content that caters to that just by doing what I've always been doing in RO1. Then you're just like
Yep.
this is exactly the feeling that I was looking for. And it's the same thing. To be honest with you, the main reason why I even play BDO so much is because it gave me the same feeling or similar, not even the same, but like just like slightly similar feeling to what RO gave me before. Because right now, sure it is a grind. Sure, it's taking a while, but if a game is good and it's catered to you as a PC player or to PC players, you get easily invested in it. It's really easy to get invested into a game that you know for a fact that is made for you, which is PC. But if you're going in there like, yeah, man, I'm thinking about the future. It's like, yeah, this game's not really gonna be able to get these good features because again, it's limited in a way that they can only design it in a way that works for mobile. So I'm getting a half-baked product.
Yeah. I think Fatty killed it earlier when he said you put that shit in the trailer. I think like going forward as creators, what we should have is like hashtag true to trailer. No matter what they do or what they put out, that's like our beating stick that we should punish
Yeah.
them with. And be like,
Yep.
you put RO1 in the trailer. You said it was going to be a successor. What is this shit every time they mess something up? And like force that baseline demand on them, like true to the
Fuck.
trailer, bro.
True.
Yeah. Just bring back the sandbox MMO.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks for the gift of sub, Lakey. My guy.
Thank you, Lucky.
You should get a sub too. Fuck, man. I mean, that I think that's where the frustration comes from, right? It's like people are always
Yeah.
saying like, no, you want RO3 RO as you want it to be, not as it was meant to be. Motherfucker, they had RO1 in the trailer. Of course, I expect it to be like RO1.
Big facts.
And that's what sets me off. Is like you want it to be like that. No. They put
No,
that in the trailer.
we're all craving it.
Yeah, they marketed it as that. Am I wrong to expect to get something that is that? No. Because it's not like I was guessing or I'm assuming what it was. They put that shit there.
Fact. And real quick, just to get another answer, I know Fatty said he felt impartial to it, but none of the other people answered. When you guys are playing this classes, does it feel the same as it did in row one? Like the damage and everything? Or
Nope.
did row one feel better? Because row one feels way better to me, like actual
Yep.
playability and enjoyability.
I
I
think right
can't
now,
speak on it yet.
yeah,
I haven't been able to get in.
yeah, I think right now, I think it's just a case of like this guy.
You don't have the sense of
Yeah, it's
accomplishment,
I
right?
think it's because it's alpha. I think I,
Yeah.
I think I would be able to judge it more if I got to experience the leveling process. Like if I got to start out as a novice. Technically, I did kind of experience like how to start out as a novice because I didn't click the quest thing and I just kept being a novice and I started running around killing porings, right? I was like, oh, okay, this feels kind of nice, right? But then I want to be able to experience as like as a novice, as a swordsman, as a knight, right? Like or as
Right, yeah,
an
yeah.
archer, a hunter. Like I want to be able to experience it from that standpoint, and then I can be like, all right, you know what? This does feel like RO, or maybe like, nah, this feels like ass, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm just curious because all I've done is heal on the Archbishop. So I'm like, man, I see other people on like archer classes and I see them like the damage, and I'm like, you know, the iconic sounds of like ta 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 ta, you know,
Yeah,
hitting and
yeah,
Yep.
the falcon sounds and how smooth the skills were, like double strafe spamming.
yeah.
Does this feel like that when you guys are playing damage classes? Because I've only done the healer
For
thing.
me, as a caster, if it feels, and this is only because I actually played like third job classes, right? In R1, it does feel similar. But I'm more curious to see if like it actually is as close to say when I actually experienced playing a hunter or something like that. When I actually experienced, because here's the thing, it's like the comet thing. Yeah, it happens that way exactly in RO1, right? It's very similar to that. Whereas like, okay, I want to experience storm gust at high orcs, right? You know, like when people are luring high
Yeah.
orcs to you and you're releasing a storm gust, you're casting storm gust, and as soon as it lands, you're like tack 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 tack. You know what I mean? And then you get that feeling. But right now, like Comet, this is basically like boom, 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 and that's it, right?
Yeah,
But
I want to know
before,
what the climb
There's nothing
feels
excited
like.
about it.
yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, man, yeah, I was almost hard, but it didn't last very long. So
That's what I'm looking for. And like PvP too, like how is like that, you know, people could argue that there isn't or there is, but like playing like thief classes, like opening up on somebody and backslide spamming and then disappearing again
Mhm.
and going around, like how is that going to feel in row three? Because one of the things I tell people that have been asking me about it and what I thought about it is like when I watch somebody play row three, it looks like it's gonna feel super clunky, like moving around the way the character models are and stuff. But then you actually play it, and like the
smooth.
WASD I kept
Yeah.
spinning in circles, and like the movement is actually really fluid and nice,
And you're
but it
playing
doesn't
on
look that way.
yeah, and you're playing on 300 ping, by the way, mind you.
Oh, I didn't even notice
The
that. Yeah,
servers in
it
Singapore.
feels
The servers in Singapore right now, Singapore or Thailand or something like that, but somewhere in Southeast Asia.
okay. It feels nicer than it looks. Like the movements don't look as nice as they actually feel. Like the responsiveness, I guess, is what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
Like when you hit the key, the spell triggers right away instantly, you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
And when you move around nicely. That's what I'm curious about how other classes are going to be like that and how movement is going to work
yeah.
with the modernized graphics.
So yeah, I think that's something that they got right. Like I give credit where credit is due, right? So like they definitely got that one right. It's just that but the fact that like they did that right, they did that well, only for it to be like a very mobile centric MMO. Like
Yeah.
even the producer actually like asked that in one of the Q&A stuff. Like if you look at the podcast thing right like, here, let me open it up here, podcast chat, and let me open up did I post it here? Yes, I did. There you go. Like even the producers asked, what makes a game feel too much like a mobile game to you? I mean, to me it's very
Your face is
obvious when
blocking,
you're
buddy.
oh yeah, hold on. Fuck.
Loaded
Hey,
question right there.
boom. Fuck.
It almost feels like they're asking, how far could we push this envelope with you being okay with it, you know?
Yeah. There we go. What makes a game feel too much like a mobile game to you? That's what they ask. I mean, the answer I think is pretty obvious, right? Like what makes you, because you designed it for mobile. I don't know what else to tell you, buddy. Like come on now.
I think number one on that list for everybody, auto. That's like
Yeah.
number one.
Yeah.
Remove that, please.
Yeah. It's like you're never gonna get the respect of PC gamers if you're trying to cater to that market. And if you're not, just say so, right? Like um if you decide to go the auto route, you just don't. Like
I think the longevity of the company is at stake right now because if, like you said, they dupe us into thinking it's not going to be this and it ends up being this, then
Yep.
it's going to lose the respect. And with like the mobile games coming after row one, row three, the true PC successor, if they mess this up, I think that it'll be damn near impossible for them to recover in the IP with like a new MMO again, like row four or something. You know, people are just going to be
well
sick of the same
here's the thing.
regurgitated kind of rug pull.
Well, here's the thing too, right? Like so, and something this is something I want to bring like attention to as well is the they're different. It's different devs. Rom 2, Rom Eternal Love 2 and RO3 devs are different, right? So Rom 2 devs have already thrown the gauntlet. They've called every iteration of, including their past game, by the way, they've called them all mobile slop, cash grab, trash RO games, right? They've
Wow.
thrown down the gauntlet already. So I don't know about you, but if RO3 is my competition, even though we're both RO games, like if when somebody throws down the gauntlet like that, man, I'm like, man, if me as a player, if I see immediately that RO3 is going to be is going to be like complete dog, I'm not wasting my time. Why? Because like in back of my head, I'm like, well, I already have ROM 2 as a backup, right? I was like, I know for a fact that I'll do well in any RO category, right? So if RO3 is not good and that is it's not as like how it was advertised, I'm just dipping out, plain and simple. I'm leaving immediately, and then I'm just gonna be like, well, time to wait for ROM 2, bro. and and because like again the ROM 2 devs or not even the devs, the CEO and the directors were like, yeah, we're only gonna do Zenny only server, which means that like sure, even if and I think they said something about like it being open world, and I think there's no stamina. Uh, so to me, in my head, kind of tells me like BDO. Sure, is there gonna be a way for people to buy Zenny? Absolutely, there probably is. Most likely will be. Like it's about 99.9999% chance that they will, right? And the only reason why I'm leaving out the 0.0001 is because like nothing is certain, right? But if I see something like that, it means that hey, I can actually play the game and grind it and progress if I'm not gated, and that's it. So why would I keep playing RO3 if it proves to be a disappointment? No, fully knowing that there's something that like like the devs have the director, the CEO have actually said that they're not gonna do all that stuff. So I'm like, you know, but I do want RO3 to do really well. Like don't get it twisted, right? Like I do want RO3 to do extremely well because again, graphically, like the art style, right? The art style is very very close to RO1, and
Yeah.
I mean that's just what we've been asking for this whole time. To be honest with you, so just give us that. Or
Yeah. And
you cater to the mobile players. That's fine too. But say that.
what do you think would happen if they just made like one server that was completely free to play? Like no pay to win stuff on this server. All the other servers have like a cash shop and things like that. Do you think they would even humor that idea? Do you think it would do well or that server would be full? What server do you think would have a higher population given the fact that like a lot of people are in their 30s now and they don't
Well,
have the time and they'd rather
it's it's
advance
not
using like some kind of pay to win? Do you think that would function at all or that could alleviate any of the growing pains or create a space for the
not
free to
really.
play community?
Well, logistically,
It's better to not just not do it.
you'd be splitting your uh player base
Your
too
player
much.
base.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like you have to realize like whales will only whale if they get the shit on free to play for the most part,
True.
or if they really don't, they really just want to enjoy the end game content and they just want to get geared because they don't want to go through the grind, right? Which is fine, which is fair. Like BDO does that, right? It's like I look at like Urk has whaled out in BDO, and I look at him and I'm not jealous of him at all because like I know for a fact that like I can keep grinding because I'm not gated and I will catch up in gear or even surpass him in gear at some point in time, and I'm okay with that because again I'm not gated. I can grind my ass off and keep up, right? And the good thing that BDO does is like you don't have to be hard cap to kill a hard cap person, right? Like I with like five with 330 with 330 AP, 730 something gear score, I managed to kill somebody who was close to 800 gear score or already at 800 gear score because I got him with a full combo, right? Like for example, like I remember at one point like Blue Squadron, right? Like we know he's geared as fuck right now, but I actually caught him in like a 3/4 combo with not even like my PvP crystals on, and I almost killed him, and he's like damn near hard capped, right? So that's the good thing that BDO does. It's like yeah, sure you can pay to win all the way up there, um, and somebody who like is like free to play, let's say like I can't afford to buy like all the premium stuff and I just grind my ass off, I can get to a point where like sure I'm not like the same as you yet, I'm not like hard cap yet, right? I'm like closer to the soft cap if anything, but I still have enough capabilities to kill you because I'm if I get you in a situation where you deserve to die because you got caught in a full combo, then I can still kill you. And that's the beauty of BDO as
Yeah,
coming from like the perspective of a free to play player.
I agree. And to send that full circle and give you both sides of that perspective, I too like it was funny. I was laughing earlier when he was saying, like, you could just be the guy that stands in town and goes to the cash shop and gears the shit out of your character. And I was laughing because that's what I'm
Is that
known
what you
for on
did?
BDO.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
bro. I went I was like before Dania came out, I went
Oh
like
shit.
760 something gear score without ever leaving Velia. Like that's why
Jesus.
they call me the Kron King of Velia. So it's like that being the scenario, I now have gear that well surpasses people that have been playing for like 5 years, 6 years, whatever, and I outgear them right now. But I go into battle arena and I have people that I should just be able to absolutely decimate kill me in a single combo. Like they whip the shit out of me. I suck at this game. They whip my ass all the time. People that are severely undergeared to me, but I think of that in row and I'm like, man, I don't know if that would fly because if you have like a really geared Lord Knight with good PvP cards and everything, like dude really doesn't need to know how to play, you know? He just needs to click you and you're going to die and you're not going to do enough damage to kill him, you know? Like he one left click and you're done. But BDO makes it nice to where you know, I could severely overgear somebody, like that same Lord Knight versus other player scenario, and they would still be able to whoop my ass, you know?
Yeah. I think it's
So they
I think it's also a perspective of game design too.
yeah.
Yep.
Where it's like if you allow the game to have enough skill expression to actually have potential outplays, then you can still have that scenario.
Yeah.
But if the game is not designed towards that, then you're just kind of cooked, right? Like there's nothing you can do. Uh, like whereas like let's say like you're a ranger, like oh technically you can't really be kited, but if you overextend and you get caught in the CC, like they will whoop your ass. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like sure you could potentially like kill them in a few hits and everything, but like if you miss position and you get caught out, you're still dying, right? Like I feel like that's fair.
Yeah, and you know what would make it great too? Like high vit classes, right? Like swordsman or knight classes that are high vid and are like over 77 vid and have like I don't think there should be stun immunity, is what I'm saying. It should be like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
higher your bit, the lower percent chance of you getting stunned, or it's very not likely that you're gonna be stunned.
yeah,
Stun
Because
resistance.
exactly stun resistance, but not stun immunity at no matter
Mhm.
how high you get that stat,
yeah,
because that would create a scenario where someone that severely undergears you, like even if two of them jump you and they're not as geared as you, if they stun lock you or kind of like lock you down or CC
mhm,
you in a way, that it would still give them that edge if they're a better player than you, even if they like you were outgearing them, that they should still be allowed to kill you.
yeah, yeah,
I think that's what they need to stick to.
yeah. Yeah. I think we covered that pretty thoroughly. Like, but yeah. Do you guys have like any closing statements at all? Before we call it. We did go over the schedule, but I think that the conversation was just so good. I personally didn't even notice the time anymore.
Same.
Yeah, we were jumping from one topic to another.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing, you know, like that
Yeah.
shows that we're a few creators, but that shows that we're willing to be here. Like, man, me and Fatty are waking up at like 4 o'clock in the morning to do this, dude. I've been getting like 2 hours of sleep every time I got to do this goddamn pioneer test. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. And then I'm a zombie for the rest of the day. And I'm still excited about being here and talking about the game that we love. And this is something they should be looking at and going like, damn, there really is a lot of passion for the game, and we need to make an effort to save this project.
Yeah. And I think like big
100%.
credits to like the Edgar, like one of the devs, right? Is because like Edgar's really been the one that's like been paying attention, just being like, hey, like you guys are really like passionate about the game, and actually listening to feedback and all that. So, again, I'm that's something that I'm happy to see. But at the same time, in my back of my mind, I'm also like wondering, it's like, all right, well, let's see where this goes, or let's see how far this goes. Like, this is this actually going to equate to something that's like, something that impacts the game in a positive way, right? Or is this just PR? I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the determining factor. But
Yeah.
if they did it right, it would be really awesome if he was the people's champ, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like they respected his word within the company and were like, you have been popularized as the one staff member that people love.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're the scout. You go let us know what the peasants are yelling about. And then we'll try to do something about what you tell us, you know? Hopefully it's not just like a PR stunt and he becomes the guy that's like the people's champion, you know?
Yeah.
Give him a
Yeah.
statue in Prontera.
Yeah, put a statue of the boy up there.
Yeah. But again, it's just to preface this whole thing. I think the whole discussion is just because the reason why we took like an hour and a half podcast, so basically like 2.5 hours, was simply put, we are very passionate about the game, and it just shows the hunger for an actual R1 successor instead of another mobile remake of the game. You know what I mean? Like we're just hungry for it at this point, and we haven't been getting it.
I got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, rams, pork,